I don't think we put one out yesterday. And
No,
by we, because I think with every, as much of a
oh, you
mess
know what? You're right.
as
You're
our
right.
5:30 to 6 was, that
Wow. It turned into a Cat 4 in like less than 12 hours.
Felipe, that is a hurricane in the warm Gulf.
Yep.
Charlie did the same thing. Charlie was a 2 headed to Tampa, and it became a 4 headed to West
Port
Cape
Charlotte.
and Port Charlotte and Arcadia.
The Gulf is just a warm frying pan that brews up hurricanes.
Has been lately, that's for sure. Good morning, Paul. I know Canada Relief. He's in the same studio. They took everything down off the walls.
God, I love it.
I know. Mark hated what was behind him.
It's Boston crap.
The only part that he liked was the Canes stuff. Good morning, AJC. Spitz, ambient.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. Hope that you and your loved ones are getting through this okay. Our thoughts are certainly with the folks listening in the greater Lake City area who are expected to get hit very hard later today. How the heck are you? Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Thanks so much for being with us. Mark, good morning. How are you?
I'm good, David. I am good. Obviously, yesterday was a rough day, or beginning to be a rough day for a lot of folks north of us. But fortunately, down in Southwest Florida, where we had so much weather a year ago, the storm passed by, thankfully, as it's heading towards the Big Bend area in Lake City, and it's going to be ugly. And we've been through this.
Yes, and along the coast of Florida, there's not much to stop these things. So, unfortunately, it has to grind itself out over land if there is a quote-unquote good news to this hurricane compared to Ian last year. Ian moved very slowly. This one is moving at over twice the rate of speed that Ian did. So it should, A, come through far more quickly, and B, then peter out far more quickly as land churns it up. But actually, they're going to get a decent part of this in Georgia and into South Carolina, quite frankly, and even maybe into the coast of North Carolina, Wilmington and what have you, before this thing goes out into the Atlantic. Miller and Moulton, thanks for being with us. But this is a sports show, even though we will hear from Mike Clay of Bay News 9 in a little more than an hour. Cut down day yesterday, Mark. Don't know how closely you paid attention. I mean, for me, this was not a draft, okay? Nothing compares to a draft. A trade deadline is second, but I got to admit, a cut down day in the NFL, I don't know if it's a bronze medalist, but it's definitely an honorable mention.
Well, David, I did pay attention yesterday. I was the daughter with no school, so I was glued to Twitter for most of the afternoon, David. You know how that goes. And when you got quarterbacks that are backups a year ago that are starting games and playing games getting cut, you've got players getting put on the PUP list and that are important players. You have a trade that never happened. Yeah, I was all in yesterday.
I love the fact that 3 kickers got cut and or traded. I love the fact that I think there's one team this morning. 3 of them cut their punters, and not all of them replaced their punters either. So
who's going to punt anymore anyhow? What do you need a punter for? We don't punt in this league.
Well, I have to admit, one of the teams is the Eagles. They might actually be able to play a game or two and just say to their place kicker, give it your best shot, whatever. We're not going to be punting that often. But man, got to hand it to Belichick. I mean, you just got to hand it to him. I mean, Mark, we've got 13 teams in this league who have 3 quarterbacks, 18 teams who have 2. And right now, this morning, Belichick's got Mac Jones. uh, and I mean, in theory, other teams can pick up Zappy there. Bring him in as their number 2 if they liked him that much. But, Belichick's like, nobody's going to pick him up. And besides, he had a tough go of it. And we could replace him anyway. Hell, there are guys out there. I mean, I could bring in Colt McCoy.
Well, that's kind of what I initially thought right away when Zappy got cut. It's like, well, it looks like the Patriots are going to bring in Colt McCoy. They'll bring in a veteran that he thinks can play if he's got to play a couple of games.
So Carolina kept 5 tight ends. Stuff like that always interests me. Remember the one year that the Bears at one point between the active roster and the practice squad had 6? Things like that you find curious. The Jags, the head coach cut his own kid.
It's a tough one. Who do you do that yourself, or do you make an assistant do it?
Do you have to call mom first?
Yes.
Listen.
As a matter of fact, that's a great call, David. Hang on 1 second, guys. Trent, everybody, I need 5. Honey? Yeah. Yep. No problem. I'll pick up milk. What else do you need at Publix? Just really quickly, I'm cutting our kid, okay? All right, talk soon. Bye.
Well, especially yesterday, too. You could have been, grabbing a bunch of stuff on the way home, getting ready for storm preps, although it looks as if Jacksonville is going to get very lucky in all this, as the heart of the storm is going to go north and west of Jacksonville. But at this time yesterday, when he was cutting his kid, it looked like Jacksonville was going to get pretty close to a, direct hit after it went over a little bit of land there. And, Doug Peterson was probably trying to say, no, I can get all that. No, absolutely.
In fact, you said you needed some help with hurricane prep.
Right.
Our son will be there in 20 minutes. I just caught him.
Right. But gotta go. Love you. Bye. Wait, what did he say? He's getting milk, lunch meat, and our kid's unemployed? What? So, yeah, that's the stuff that I liked. And, damn Irsay, you were right. I was wrong. I really thought that they were going to trade him. Hell, not only did they trade him, they put him on the PUP list. He's not it. So what? The guy's not healthy? I just thought this was all a game. He was faking a back injury. You guys didn't want him practicing because, well, you're done with him. I'll tell you, the Colts, between the Cardinals and the Colts right now, the Cardinals, I think, are a worse roster and worse team, but man, oh man, what soap operas. I want HBO to Hard Knocks to leave the Jets and go follow the Cardinals and the Colts.
Boy, I tell you what, just give me one of those They did the in-season with the Cardinals last year. Maybe they can do that again and watch the tanking continue.
Whew. But, I always find it interesting that, leading receiver in all of the preseason got cut by the Browns. These preseason warriors who get released. Mark, it's kind of like being a top 10, top 12 golfer in the United States. I mean, if you're just not in the club, you can't make the team.
It's all about being in the club. And boy, oh boy, David, if you're into golf, this team has so much pressure on them now. So much pressure. After trouncing Europe the last time here on home soil, going on the road, going to Italy with the club, the official PGA Country Club.
Now, in fairness, isn't the JT move the move that Europe has done many times when they have a veteran golfer whose form is not that good? But the Europeans have just said, yeah, I don't know what to tell you. We don't have a team without this guy. This guy's a part of the team. He's part of our soul. This is who. Now, JT's younger, though. He's only 30. I mean, I'm thinking about like Faldo in 95, Sergio the last time or two that he was put on the team, Olazábal's last appearance, last time they put a Westwood or a Woozy on the team. Europe, basically the captains just looked out and said, yeah, trust us on this, okay? We got this chemistry thing down. You guys do the world rankings. We do the room.
David, you are right, because the one thing the U.S. team has always lacked by looking from the outside is that team chemistry. And, putting Fowler and JT and Spieth and making sure everybody's got their buddy with them, is that the right move? We'll see, but I think it adds because we scrutinize these picks more here than I think they do over in Europe, and I believe that the pressure that is on this team going on the road is immense. And on Zach Johnson, the captain, who can't play any golf because he'll get blamed if they lose.
Do you think, by the way, that we've gone too far? You have always mocked being the Ryder Cup captain to some degree. You have felt it was one of the most overrated things in all of sports. But at the time, heck, Mark, we go back a generation, you had like 2 picks. Then I think you had 4. Now you're picking damn near half the team.
Now you're responsible for the team. Now the onus is on you when you make decisions like this. And Zach Johnson will take all of the heat if we lose this.
But what if he wins?
Then
go over. They haven't won 30 years. They haven't got on the road and won. You take a look at the 93 team, by the way, loaded with historically great golfers, with Tom Watson as a first-time captain. It's one of those teams you take the team picture of and you put it on the wall and you go, that's a team right there. Yeah, that's when America, ruled the golfing world right there.
I did see somebody put a picture up of an 80s Ryder Cup team and said we definitely need to go to throwbacks at least one day in the Ryder Cup.
You mean unis?
Yes. Give me some plaid. Great. Oh, it would be fantastic. And the players would embrace it because golfers like to dress goofy. Look at Fowler, for crying out loud.
I do think you could get Europe to go along with it, too. You say, hey, what do you say the afternoon session on Saturday? We all go nuts. We'll take an extra 30-minute break than what we were figuring in between the morning and the afternoon. Instead of 30 minutes, we'll make it an hour. This way we can all go and change. By the way, your wives and girlfriends have to, too. That's right. That's extra outfits. They'll love that.
Absolutely. Some platform shoes, some bell bottoms. We'll go 70s with the ladies, 80s with the guys. This is fantastic. We're on to something now.
And I tell you what, we'll allow more time if needed for you to tease your hair up. We can go 80s big hair if you want. Sure. Hell, before the first tee shot, we'll have Bon Jovi playing in the background. What do you say? So a lot going on in the sports world yesterday.
And a little baseball as well.
Yeah.
With the Rays picking up a win, the Marlins are really reeling right now.
Yeah, Felipe's bet's in trouble.
Big trouble.
They were what, 12 games over 500? 14, something like that? Oof.
I'm listening to the radio broadcast of the game on my drive home. It's 2-1 in the 4th. I see the final, it's 11-2.
I think it was even 2-1 in the 5th. Yeah, that fell apart quickly. So
and the Rays bats all of a sudden got hot, and the home runs started coming in droves last night as the Rays took down the Marlins. We have got a terrific show lined up for you today. Miller and Moulton. We're going everywhere. College football, pro football, golf, and even some hurricane coverage right here on the Florida Sports Network.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Myers.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. 20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Have they done anything with Kent State and UCF yet? I don't know how the hell Kent State's going to get in. Is the Orlando Airport open?
I don't think anything's open right now. They could, if they wanted to, probably open it late today. I don't know if they will open it late today, but they probably could. I'll bet you, is Miami Fort Lauderdale open? I mean, they could fly there. They could fly there and take bus to the turnpike.
They preempted national news last night here locally for hurricane coverage of a storm that isn't hitting us. I was a little surprised by that.
They, one of the stations here did it too.
I don't know about Fox here, but both Hertz and Wink did it. So three. I mean, I don't even know if I don't even know if they show Fox on my local. I don't know if YouTube TV puts Fox 4 on.
And plus,
they
Fox,
do. I'm just kidding.
And plus, Fox doesn't have a 6:30 national news, so
they went to 8. Oh my! They went into the 8 o'clock hour. Oh my! Oh,
hold on a second. Are you telling me Wheel and Jeopardy did not air last night, Felipe?
Oh, I was gone by then.
But were you aware? Were they doing a
lot?
lot?
Doing news on both stations at 7.
I think it was a constant. Yeah. I think it was just constant coverage of it.
So was it a simulcast, the same newscast on both?
No. And it was, again, it's so.
Don't say another word.
Get yourself in trouble.
This is an open mic that's recorded. Just you got to be
really.
Careful.
I was saying it's complicated when I explain to people that both of them operate from the same building.
I think
it's a little funny when an ABC 7 reporter, quote unquote, is wearing NBC 2 gear. That's all. That's all I'm saying. I mean, is that not what happens?
Yes. We thought you were going to go in a different direction. Where
we're very careful of you.
I know.
Felipe,
I know.
Just so you know.
I know.
What I was talking about before the mics were hot cannot be talked about when the mics were hot, particularly by you.
Yeah.
Me, on the other hand, I can say whatever the hell I want about NBC, ABC, or Wink.
Hello again, everybody.
How you doing, Jim?
Nick and everybody else. I think Jacksonville's going to avoid over 90% of this. It looks like this thing is continuing to go north and will then be fairly west Yeah, well, because our careers are pretty much washed out. We got to make sure he has one. So Orlando's open, KW. Okay. I mean, they should be.
Paul's at Clearwater Beach where the winds are 16 miles an hour. Give me Cantori and Cedar Key. Come on. I feel badly. It's a great part of Florida, great part of old Florida. That's just going to get, and it's a, not a very, very poor part of Florida too.
And they're going to get 10 plus feet of water, and there's nothing to stop it either. That water's going to go for 20, 30 miles.
So sad. I mean, I'm cutting up thoughts yesterday of restaurant owners. It's literally right on the Gulf, and it's just a crab shack thing. They're like, oh yeah, if it's anything remotely close to Ian, I mean, everything here will be gone. So we're just hoping for it not to be that bad.
Did you see the posting pictures of Fort Myers like we're getting huge flooding? Did you see that yesterday? They actually said Fort Myers, David.
Well, okay, the pictures came in early enough that they could post them, and because it got hit last year.
I know.
Right. I will say I am thinking about the.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Top of the morning to you. Let's get over the hump together, shall we? Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Mike Clay, the chief meteorologist of Bay News 9, will join us an hour from now. We'll get a quick Idalia update. Since we go from the Florida-Georgia line to Marco Island along I-75 as a show these days, we want to just do the best we can and also let you know we're thinking of you and we care and we're hoping for the best. Our regular weekly feature with Pro Football Network will take place a little over an hour from now. David Bearman will join us once again. Seth Everett's regular Wednesday appearance, it's normally halfway through the 8 o'clock hour. It will now, during football season, be at the top of the hour because Bud Elliott will join us at around 8:30-ish. For the rest of the football season. And in our bonus hour, we're going to talk a little Ryder Cup with Bob Harig of Sports Illustrated. So the guests are lined up and ready to go, storm or not.
Seth's going to be surly this morning.
Why?
We moved him to 8. He's going to have angst. I'm already prepared for shenanigans with Seth.
I handled the negotiations. I mean, he tried to make it seem as if it wasn't a big deal. I will then have angst if all of a sudden he gives us attitude because it'll be like, hold on a second. Hold on a second. You're like one of our senior guests. You're like third on the pecking order in terms of how long you've been with us. All right. Danielson, Kerwin, you. And so we accommodate Seth because he's kind enough to accommodate us, and we've paid him so handsomely over the years. Right.
Hello. On check test 1 2.
So, I handled it. It was a 2-week negotiation. I will say that. Started one Wednesday, ended the following. Just let things marinate for a while. But Seth's going to join us at the top of the 8 o'clock hour now for the rest of the football season here on Miller and Moulton. Mark, trade deadlines are exciting. And the national media and fan bases, they get behind an organization when they, we're not taking a step back. We're not going to do a Mets. We're not going to say we're not contenders and we need to sell. We're not going to pull a White Sox from many years ago when they were 5 back at the trade deadline, and they said, we're a 500 team. We're not contenders. What do you mean? Oh, the outrage. And so, Mark, the Angels, just 4 weeks ago, they were playing well. Trout was coming back off the injured list. Ohtani was crushing the ball. They're like 3 games out of a playoff spot. We're not selling. We're going for it.
And it backfired massively. They've
Yeah.
played just god-awful baseball since that point. They have played their way completely out of the pennant race. Ohtani hurts his arm. He may have to have Tommy John surgery. Mike Trout finally comes back from the IL, only to stay on for one day.
And so now, yesterday, they literally put 5 guys on waivers, saying to the rest of Major League Baseball, no, take them. They're yours. See, we're a few million over the tax line, and if we're going to accomplish anything this season, we'd like to get back under the tax line. So, yeah, I know we acquired Giolito from the White Sox there 4 weeks ago. You could have them. Take them. No, really, knock yourself out. Yeah, put them on your playoff roster. Yeah, we don't care. Yeah, I know we traded away some of our best prospects for 2 of the guys on the list. Doesn't matter. Honestly, take them. Take my wife, please. Yep. I just gotta love, just like the Marlins. Kim Ang. All right, they're in it. She makes the moves. She makes good moves, by the way. I defend every single move she made. Mark, how are the Marlins doing?
God-awful.
Mm.
I mean, they are just a mess right now. They can't get out of their own way. A little bit with scheduling, but one of the players that they picked up has not performed well for them.
No, David Robertson's blown at least 3 saves. Yeah. It's not why you were brought here, dude. Come on now. Come on. By the way, you know how many games the Marlins are out of the playoffs? David Robertson. Yeah. 3. So just we need to all remember this. Trade deadlines.
Well, I wonder at the next trade deadline, David, the one in the National Football League.
Right.
Will Jonathan Taylor be traded, and will Miami be kicking themselves for not doing what needed to be done to get him when they had an opportunity? Or were the Colts just never going to trade him?
Well, the reports that came out yesterday, and I have to admit, I do think that the Dolphins are better leakers than the Colts. And I do think the Dolphins have accrued more friends in the national media than the Colts have these days. That the word, Mark, an hour or so after the deadline was that the Colts were just completely unreasonable, that the Dolphins actually kept sweetening the damn offer. But they were not giving them a first-round pick. They were going to give them a second and other stuff. And the Colts were like, yeah, it's just not going to do it. And the Dolphins are like, you're not getting our first-round pick. But we can give you a second. We can give you a running back. We can give you a pick in 2025. Okay? I mean, we can give you a really nice – no, sorry. So – anyway, that's the storyline coming out of that. But you're right. Late October is the deadline. I think it's right before Halloween. I think is the deadline in the NFL.
And there will be action based on what we've seen in the preseason, what we've seen at draft day. The NFL is slowly coming around to the rest of the sports world when it comes to trading players.
But, Mark, you and I are hockey guys, and we've seen it a lot. I mean, every now and then a team makes a couple of strategic moves at the deadline. Very rarely is the biggest move at the deadline the one that leads a team to greatness. Usually it's picking up a third line defenseman and, a third line winger and that sort of deal. And then you look back and you go, wow, those 2-3 moves, they were big. They were key guys.
Yeah, that second line center they picked up who was really good on faceoffs turned out to be a really important part of their playoff.
Right. But then there are also teams that make big moves. I mean, this year, the one I root for, the Rangers, Tarasenko and Kane, 2 flashy moves. Yeah, how'd that work out? So, sometimes this trade deadline thing, you make the couple of strategic moves or – people give you failing marks also at the trade deadline. What were they? C-. What were they thinking? Like the Seattle Mariners. What are you guys doing? Trading your closer. For goodness sakes. Morons. Yeah. They go like 21-4 over the next 4 weeks. Right. Something crazy like that.
Played their way from out of the playoff to leading their division.
Right. Morons. Maybe not. So, and we also have to remember August is a long month in baseball. August is the month that it is like running that race and you hit that wall. August is that month in baseball where teams just come to a crashing halt.
Well, think about it. By the time you're at August, what a lot of your makeup days or your off days are what? Makeup days.
Yeah.
You're jamming games in. You're playing a series, and all of a sudden you got to get in 2 in because the game got rained out in May, and you're playing every day, it seems. So you're on to something, David. And, well, we've watched teams that can handle it, and it doesn't matter because Baltimore and Seattle have no pedigree to think they can. You look at the Dodgers and go, okay, great, they're the Dodgers, and they're supposed to do this, and they're a veteran team, and they've been there before. There's an explanation there, but there isn't the same explanation for Seattle. There isn't the same explanation for Baltimore. Tampa, who's lost a bunch of pitching, they've still continued to play at a high level. Unreal from one side to another. Miller and Moulton. Get to everything you may have missed overnight on the starting five. That's next.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Yeah, hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Teams in the postseason because the way we swing our offense is going to, beat this team the best we can. We got a great strong staff. If you don't score runs, you're not going to win. So, I think on a personal level, just trying to keep things going, understanding. Anytime I'm out there, I just try to have good at bats. And it's funny, I was driving in today, and I'm listening to WIP like I do a lot, at 2 o'clock hour. And a guy named Chuck called in. He calls in a lot of his players. I said, he was talking about our team and talking about me and stuff. And I walked in the training room. I was like, I'm going to go deep tonight for Chuck. That guy had me fired up, man. But, it's just funny. I mean, this team as a whole, we come in here and play with.
Did you hear that?
No.
So Bryce Harper's doing a post-game interview yesterday because I think he homered in his second straight game. And he said, yeah, I'm driving in. and I'm listening to WIP. I do that a lot in the 2 o'clock hour. And he said, and this guy Chuck called in. And Chuck was talking about me and the team. And he had me all fired up. I walked into the locker room and I said, guys, I'm going deep tonight for Chuck. He goes, by the way, Chuck calls in a lot. He's hilarious. We have said that, Mark, haven't we? Don't think they don't listen. Oh, they listen. There's enough of them that listen that they come into the room and they go, did you hear what they're saying?
My favorite's when I'd say something about a player in a broadcast and they'd leave the volume on for. See, even Miller knows what you're not getting back on that all. That's rides.
Goodness sakes, Millsy knows you're not hustling. Damn. Wes, there's no doubt about it. Chuck's life. Chuck is big man on campus for the rest of the week, and he's a legend on WIP now for years. How about Tampa Bay? 13 rookies, 6 undrafted.
Think they have salary cap problems?
And you think they want to go from the oldest team in the league to one of the youngest?
Well, they're still running their promo, so I don't think they quit.
Okay. That is odd, though. They took everything down in the studio. They've had that stuff up for years.
10 seconds.
Maybe they're finally getting cameras in here.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes before the hour on this hump day. Thanks so much for being with us, Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. David Bearman of Pro Football Network will join us 1 hour from now. Seth Everett, Bud Elliott in our 8 o'clock hour. Bob Harig in our bonus hour to talk about the U.S. Ryder Cup captains picks. Got a busy show. We'll even check in on Hurricane Idalia next hour. But right now it is time for
The Starting Five. 5 stories you need to know. It's the Starting Five on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
Man, a lot went down in the NFL yesterday. It was cut down day, a ton of trades. Where do we start? Well, the Dolphins didn't acquire Jonathan Taylor. They didn't sign Christopher Wilkins long-term, but they did trade former first-round draft pick corner Noah Igbayani to the Cowboys for their former second-round corner, Kelvin Joseph. So here, Mark, You take my disappointment, I'll take yours. What do you say?
I like it because I always mispronounced his name anyhow, so it just is a little easier for me.
First-round pick out of Auburn. That was the year they had 3 first-round picks. He was the third of the 3. Austin Jackson, the struggling right tackle, was the second of the 3. Tua was the first of the 3. We'll see how that turns out now.
Let's hope 1 out of 3 ain't bad, because if it's the one, David, the rest don't matter.
True.
It doesn't.
True.
Can totally miss on the other 2 picks if Tua's the guy.
Dolphins also cut running back Myles Gaskin. Bucks, meanwhile, went with 13 rookies. 13 rookies, most in the NFL. 6 undrafted free agents make the team. Remember, they were the oldest team in the league last year. Now they're one of the 5 youngest. And heck, they haven't even traded Mike Evans yet.
Stop it.
I don't want it. Well, actually, no, I do.
Yeah,
and I love Mike Evans. I want to pitch his Hall of Fame candidacy and trade him all at the same time. The Colts put Jonathan Taylor on the PUP list, by the way. The Bills did the same with Von Miller. That means those 2 guys can't play the first 4 games of the year. New England cut 2 of their 3 quarterbacks. You heard me. They have Mac Jones right now. That's it. Now, they still have time. They don't play for like another 11 days. But I'm just saying, right now, they got 1 guy. Both Bailey Zappi and Malik Cunningham being beat up by 31 other teams. 13 teams, by the way, kept 3 quarterbacks. You know, they have the new emergency quarterback rule this year. And so far, at least 13 teams taking advantage of it. Mark, 3 kickers ultimately were cut or traded. The Patriots sent Nick Folk to the Titans. Remember, the day before, they had cut their kicker. They didn't have anybody. Sean Payton liked Will Lutz with the Saints. So much so, now that he's in Denver, he traded for him. And the Chargers ultimately are going with Cameron Dicker as their kicker. That's right, Dicker the kicker. Right. They traded the other guy to the Browns yesterday. The NFL placed Jags cornerback Chris Claybrooks on the commissioner's exempt list. That means he can't practice. He can't show up. He can't illegally place a wager in the parking lot even. You get out of here. Also, the Jags cut Doug Peterson's son, who was a long snapper. They cut the head coach's son. Wow. They mean business there, don't they? DeMar Hamlin made the Bills. How awesome is that?
It really is. And it was a question going into camp.
Sure. Heck. I mean, you know.
But I mean, the feel-good story of the NFL could have been.
Yeah. Unemployment line. Yeah. DeMar Hamlin makes the team. Remarkable comeback after the events of January 2nd. A couple of quarterbacks who did pretty well in the preseason. Jake Fromm in Washington, Trevor Siemian in Cincinnati, both let go. Jake Browning is going to be Joe Burrow's backup. Remember, Burrow is not practicing.
And all indications are, what I was seeing just during the break, is that the Bengals are looking to pick up Will Grier to be their third since he was cut.
Carolina kept 5 tight ends, but cut veteran linebacker Deion Jones. The Steelers, remember 2 years ago, Mark, worst offensive line in the league? Horrendous. Mark, now they have so many offensive linemen they traded 2 yesterday. Kevin Dotson to the Rams and Kendrick Green to the Texans. The Giants acquired Bills defensive lineman Boogie Basham. He was a second-round pick a couple years ago. So they put Von Miller on the PUP list and traded away Basham. Boy, they're convinced those young defensive linemen are going to deliver. Good luck with that. That didn't happen last year down the stretch. I'm just saying. The Raiders traded a defensive lineman to the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Chiefs are short because Chris Jones is holding out. The Raiders sent him Neil Farrell for a 6th-round pick. What the heck?
You hate those guys.
Yeah, exactly. What are you helping
you
them out
hate
for?
Those guys.
For a 6th-round pick, you're going to help them out for a 6th-rounder? Seriously? I mean, I understand they give you a 3rd or a 4th, but a 6th-rounder? Come on now. Finally, Mark, in football news, did you see the ESPN announcement yesterday?
Matter of fact, I think I texted it to you when it happened. I was. So
ESPN has made a deal with this theater company. I don't know the name of the company. It's not, the biggest theater brand in the country, but they made this deal with this theater company in which they're going to televise ACC football games in the theaters.
We wondered where the ACC was going to go since they didn't have any networks to put them on. Apparently, you have to go to the movies to see them.
Apparently, that's more distribution than the CW. But for example, week 1, North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia, Tennessee, LSU, Florida State, Clemson, Duke, all going to be in a theater near you, at least in the Carolinas. Huh. Would you go to a movie theater to watch a football game?
No.
Think about it, though. Huge screen, great sound, food and drink, bathrooms.
Yeah.
No?
No. And you
Theater.
know what? I'm the wrong guy to ask because I don't go
know.
to movie theaters, and I know they're so much better now than they've ever been. Maybe this will work, but I thought it was goofy when goofy was my word for it when I saw it.
Okay, you've lost a bet, and you have to go out to watch the game. And I give you a choice: sports bar, movie theater.
Sports bar.
Okay. Baseball, Rays whack the Marlins 11-2, 3 in the 6th, 4 in the 7th, 3 in the 9th. That'll overcome a 2-1 deficit into the 6th, huh? Rosarena and Lowe homered. Jazz Chisholm did have a homer and 2 RBIs for the Marlins, who are now 500 with 30 games left. Here's the thing. Do the math. The Marlins probably have to win pretty darn close to 2 out of their last 3 games, if you know what, going forward. They got 30 games left. They're 66-66. If they go 20-10, that's 86 wins. That's going to be right there. 86, if I had to bet right now, I'd say 86 gets you in. 85 would be a tiebreaker necessary. So can the Marlins play 667 baseball the rest of the way?
No chance. And I think they've got to go a minimum of 18-12. I think 84, because none of these teams are playing well, David. No one's doing a whole hell of a lot here.
Well, it's true. Right now, if they go 18-12, which is 600 baseball, the Giants would have to play a game above 500 to equal the Marlins, if you know what I mean, at the end of the season. So that's kind of where we are. The Rays stay 2.5 back at the Orioles, who scored 3 in the 7th, 5 in the 8th, and beat the White Sox 9-3. Guardians doubled up the Twins 4-2 to cut their lead in the division to 6. Seattle finally lost. They'd lost once in like 3 weeks. Oakland beat them 3-1. And since Houston and Texas both won, Houston 6-2 over Boston. Red Sox, by the way, 6.5 out for a wild card. I think we can put a fork in them, right?
Oh, yeah.
And Texas won their second in a row. They edged the Mets 2-1. We have a 3-way tie for first in the AL West. All 3 would make the playoffs right now. In fact, all 3 are 3.5 games clear of the Blue Jays. Toronto lost to Washington 5-4. Yanks hit 3 homers, doubled up Detroit 4-2. Phillies hit 5 homers. Bryce Harper homered for the second straight game. Did you hear the interview he gave afterwards? Said he was driving into work, listening to WIP, the sports radio station. There's 2 of them in Philly. That's been the big one for a long time. Okay. And he says, I listened to the 2 o'clock hour. Chuck called in. Chuck was saying good things about me and the team. I pulled into the parking lot. I was all fired up. I walked into the clubhouse. I said, guys, I'm homering for Chuck. And he did.
Chuck's a hero.
A legend. A legend.
Opening the show with Chuck today.
Tell you what, this Bryce Harper and Philly marriage is working. Why? He wanted to play there. He has embraced it, and they are gaga for him.
And Trey Turner, by the way, went 2 for 5 with a triple and a home run last night.
Yeah, he's hitting like 350 since they started kissing his butt. It's unreal.
And
12-7 Phillies over the Angels. Ohtani, by the way, 3 hits, 2 RBIs. He's hitting like 308 and with 1 arm. Cubs shut out the Brewers 1-0. They're 4 back. Cubs are the 5 seed, a half a game ahead of the Giants, who beat the Reds 6-1. Giants now a half a game ahead of Arizona, who lost to the Dodgers 9-1. Reds, by the way, are 2 back. Marlins 3 back for the final playoff spots in the National League. Ozuna hit his 30th homer for the Braves. They beat Colorado 3-1. Pittsburgh doubled up KC, and the Cardinals edged the Padres in 10. Contreras with 2 homers for St. Louis. Zach Johnson, the U.S. Ryder Cup captain, had 6 Ryder Cup picks. By the way, credit the Guardian overseas. They had these picks 18 hours before Zach made them. Brooks Koepka, who was 7th on the Ryder Cup list. Jordan Spieth, who was 8th. Colin Morikawa, who was 10th. Sam Burns, who was 12th. Ricky Fowler, who was 13th. And Justin Thomas, who was 15th. They got the 6 captains' picks. Cam Young was 9th. He's staying home. Keegan Bradley was 11th. He's staying home. Keegan was as brutally honest as you could be when somebody got a hold of him yesterday. He said, I've been passed over once before, and I actually thought I had made nice with, the important people in U.S. golf, and apparently not nice enough. He goes, I guess I now know I have to automatically qualify. I'm never going to get picked.
Ooh. Who's he rooting for?
He says, but he did say, I'm rooting for the U.S. Sure he is.
Okay.
Lucas Glover, by the way, was 16th, 1 spot behind JT. He didn't get picked despite his strong finish to the year. U.S. Open, 25-year-old American upset the 11th seed Kachanov in straight sets. Alcaraz won. He only had to play a set and a half. His opponent retired. Andy Murray and John Isner, a couple of old guys, they both won. Meanwhile, on the women's side, the 7th seed and the 12th seed both got upset. Garcia and Kachikova. Americans Jessica Pegula and Madison Keys were winners. If this is the end for Venus Williams, ouch. The 43-year-old beaten 6-1, 6-1 by a 26-year-old Belgian who's ranked 97th in the world. That Father Time thing.
Undefeated, David. Undefeated.
Undefeated and untied.
Mother Time?
Although, did Father Time beat Brady? Or did that go to a draw? How about that for a poll question? Did Brady beat Father Time, lose to Father Time, or did it end in a draw?
Would have been perfect right before the Dallas playoff game.
That's what I'm saying. Did that night make it so that Father Time won? I mean, they only led 4 times all year going to the fourth quarter. He took them to the playoffs. That was not a good team. But at 8 minutes before the hour, gentlemen, that was
the starting 5 every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
And Felipe, you are right. Sometimes Father Time has to call in Mother Time and say, well, you know the drill. Take care of things. But Venus had actually had a decent summer. She beat a top 20 player in the world. She had a couple of wins on the hardcourt circuit. Not that anybody was expecting.
She got injured, not hurt. She got injured in a match in the tournament prior, so she was not 100% going to the U.S. Open. So they say, but
she's not yet ready to announce her retirement. A lot of others have here in the last week, saying that the U.S. Open will be it for them. And so a lot of meat on the bone once again. College football season for many begins tomorrow with the Gators in Utah and UCF hosting, who's it, Kent State?
Kent State.
Oh, that Big 12 logo on their jersey.
College football starts tomorrow night, David.
Yes, it does.
The Gators in Utah. Kent State and UCF getting ready for a bunch of games Friday and a bunch of games Saturday and even into Sunday. I mean, it doesn't end, David. It's here, finally. Miller and Moulton, thanks for listening to Florida Sports Network.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Hey, Schefter said what you said. I don't know if you saw it before you said it, but Schefter said that Greer's signing with the Bengals.
Yeah, I don't know if it was Schefter that I saw it from, but I saw it during the last break on Twitter. Oh, Pro Football Talk had it. So. Timmy B's got my Spartans.
He does.
Can we talk body fat here?
Sure.
You know where I'm going, right?
I have no idea.
The White Sox gun. A lady smuggled it in under her belly fat.
Okay. Yes, I did
No
see.
way.
Yeah. Yep. In between her rolls, she smuggled in a gun.
Mm-hmm. I have seen the Florida-Utah line as low as 4 now. Is he not playing?
I guess not, but I still would take Utah. Did you see on I don't know if it's X or if it was TikTok, the husband who gave us 2-week notice to his wife heading into football season. He typed it up and everything, gave it to her and taped her reading it. She's laughing as she's going along. And at the end, she goes, "Yeah, I can't accept this. We're short-staffed." I guess Paul's impressed we're going body fat.
And it's actually belly fat.
It's all for you, Paul.
$15 seconds.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on this hump day. Thanks so much for being with us. Mike Clay, the chief meteorologist from Bay News 9 in Tampa Bay, will join us in 20 or so minutes. We'll get a hurricane update. It has strengthened significantly overnight. There's some flooding in the Tampa Bay area and bridges closed, and it is headed towards an area of Florida that has never been hit by one of these major hurricanes before. And, well, it's going to cause a lot of damage, unfortunately. And so a lot of major areas are being largely, well, not hit by this hurricane, but those that are going to get hit, including our friends listening in Lake City, we're thinking of you. Good luck. Unfortunately, there's not much at this point you could do if you haven't already left, except hunker down and be prepared. And we wish you the best.
Text line is open at 21,000-2100. If you want to chime into the show, you can always join us at twitch.tv/Miller and Moulton, where you can watch the show. And for those that watch, the studio that we rent is barren. There was stuff all over the walls, and I walked in this morning, and there's nothing on any of the walls.
What happened? Is it a news talk now? What's going on?
I have no idea. They're still running promos, so I think it's still a sports station, but we'll find out after our show.
I mean, you've had Red Sox, Patriots, Bruins, and Miami Hurricanes stuff behind you for the last 2 years.
I know, and the Kane stuff's the only stuff I like that's behind me.
I mean, honestly, for a second there, if there wasn't a sliver of the door that wasn't in your camera shot, I would have thought, my goodness, is Mark home? Okay, where's he doing the show from? But yeah, but now the good thing is, see, you used to have stuff behind you. I have ugly, bare walls behind me in my condo. Now, we're going to have a major renovation here, and in like 6 to 8 weeks, I'm telling you, it's a different color. I'm going to put stuff up on the wall. Okay, I'll have a background.
Yada,
nice.
yada, yada.
Okay, I'm telling you, you're going to do it. But for the next few weeks, it'll be nice because now you look as plain as me.
There's no doubt. There is no doubt. All right, I've got to get to a story that happened at a sporting event.
Okay.
And it's an uncomfortable story in a lot of ways. I mean, someone fired a gun at a Chicago White Sox game. That is a terrible story. The fact that someone brought a gun into a baseball game and fired it is disturbing. But how the person brought it in may be more disturbing, David. Did you hear as to how apparently the gun got in to the White Sox game?
No, and I have to admit, I am curious because I figured in 2023, we have to have metal detectors, don't we, at all these events?
Yes. And Guaranteed Rate Field in Chicago is where the game was played. And 2 women were wounded when the gun went off. Now, apparently there are conflicting stories that the metal detector did go off, but they could not find the gun because the 42-year-old woman who is charged with bringing the gun into the stadium hid it in her belly fat.
Wow. All right. There you go. How big are your rolls? I can hide a Glock.
Right. And how much are you going to search said belly fat if you're setting off alarms?
Yes. And more so on a woman than a guy, right? Even if they wand you, okay? Well, because also there's wiring in bras. Okay, so I'm not sure where it was she actually, stored the gun, but it could have been very close to her bra also. So if they wand you, she could go, well, that's just my bra.
But now I'm thinking I did not know if I gain a little bit more weight, I've got an extra pocket right in my belly.
Well, first off, you know full well by being friends with me that there's a thing called the shelf. All right.
I'm aware of the shelf, and I can position myself to use said shelf with my.
No, you don't have a shelf. No. That's not a shelf at all. No.
Thank you, but it's
no. No. That's like some artistic design that somebody puts on the wall, and they put that thing and they go, what am I supposed to do with this? Put a candle on it? Okay, that's not a shelf. Okay, that's just you trying to be artistic. Okay, that's what that is.
Modern art, David?
Exactly. All right. I have a shelf. I mean, when you can put a beverage and your snack, then you have a shelf. That's a shelf. And so the amount of weight you would have to gain to be able to hide a gun is staggering.
So now I'm going to spend part of the show looking for mugshots of this woman just to see how big she was and how she was able to hide said gun in belly fat. But that's a new one for me.
Here's the thing. I'd be like, so did you tape it? Because it's one thing to store it, but then once you start moving, isn't it going to fall out?
That's a valid point. You've thought deeper about this than even I have, David. I'm impressed by that.
Oh, I'm fascinated by this now.
Felipe makes a great point.
Can't get too sweaty,
Start sweating a little bit. That thing
exactly.
A great holster in the cold.
Well, think about it. Also, if you go through a metal detector and you set it off, they go through, and then what do they ask you to do? They ask you usually to put your arms up. I would think that would then stretch out your belly fat, a chance for the gun to fall out. I want to know, did she tape it?
Well, apparently she shot herself, so she must not have done a very good job securing this thing.
Well, who knows? Maybe it was all the movement. Just glad nobody got seriously hurt, obviously.
Absolutely. Or we wouldn't be bringing it up.
So what do you think security is going to be like at White Sox games going forward? I mean, it's kind of like every year at the end of the year when they show all the guns that got through security at Newark International. And I keep thinking, wow, it's going to take 5 hours to get through and get on my flights there now. My goodness. Yeah, we're going to the White Sox game. What time's first pitch? 7:05. What time you got to get there? 5. Why? Security. Ever since the woman hid the gun in her belly fat, takes us forever to get to our seat.
Between that and the players going on the fans going on the field with the Acuna.
Yep. By the way, they set out. Remember how we chastised the Brewers a couple of weeks back when they were dumb enough to say out loud the prospect of leaving Milwaukee? And we were like, listen, don't insult us. Don't make us angry. You're not leaving Milwaukee. And besides, there's nothing wrong with that ballpark. Shut up. All right. But the White Sox have done the same thing.
Yes,
Talk
they
about
have.
Leaving the South Side.
Right. Everybody's going to Nashville, David, which is going to really irritate the other owners in baseball because that's an expansion city. And expansion cities have what, David? Expansion fees. And expansion fees are free money to owners. And they are not going to turn down free money from Nashville so that Milwaukee or Chicago can move there.
Mark, here's the problem, though. Nashville has to want you. There's been no indication that Nashville wants a current team. Nashville, I think, wants their own. I think Nashville wants an expansion franchise. I don't think they want to inherit a team. Also, there's a big difference, Mark, and it's not just this year. Milwaukee's had a nice little run here. Milwaukee's had about a 6-7 year run. They've been very competitive. Last year, they missed the playoffs by a game. Hell, they took the Dodgers to Game 7 of an LCS like 5 years ago. You know, who's in first place right now in the NL Central? That'd be your Milwaukee Brewers. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's one thing to be 16 games above 500 and talking about moving with your lease still having 7 years left on it. Okay, the White Sox have 6 years left on their lease. Mark, have you seen how many games below 500 they are? 29. Yeah, don't be talking about moving when you're 29 games below 500 because your fan base may actually say, if we show up at 8 o'clock and help you move, can you be gone by 5? All these games are going to end up on streaming anyway. We could watch you whatever city you want to go to, where you want to go to. Build you a new ballpark. Seriously? At the same time that the Bears are talking about leaving downtown Chicago and moving to a suburb and a stadium and what have you. And the White Sox are like, you know, this would be with everything that's going on in the city of Chicago, the White Sox go, you know, this would be a good time to threaten to leave. Don't you think?
It is fascinating that Arlington Heights thing where they bought the land is one spot. There's 4 other suburbs that have all raised their hands saying, please, 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 can we have the Bears? And then right. Chicago still thinks they're going to keep them. And I mean the city of Chicago.
Right, which is laughable. Meanwhile, and not only that, you're the second, you know, you're not the Cubs. I mean, no offense. Come on now. I mean, this would be like the Clippers going, you know what? We've had it. And we're thinking of leaving. I don't even know if it would make the LA Sports Talk Show. And by the way, as we sign off, the Clippers are saying they're leaving. Okay, this could be their last year. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
So just a little quick sidebar there with what's going on in Chicago with the White Sox in and around the belly fat.
So they need a new stadium, and apparently they need to update their security.
And drop 20 pounds all at once. It's a shape up, David. We all know about them. It's whether or not we do them is what is the big indicator.
You can't ask that of your fans. You're not asking this of your DH. Hey, you're so fat, we could hide a gun in your belly rolls. No. It's the fans. Sorry, you can't sit in section 413. Why? You're too fat. Now I'm going to own section 413. Are you serious?
Next, they're going to charge more for an airline ticket. Don't get me started.
Wow, where'd that come from? Just getting it all out of our system. Yeah, another hurricane, you know, all the stuff starts flowing out of all of us. Mike Clay, Chief Meteorologist, Spectrum's Bay News 9, expected to call in the next 10 minutes. We'll get an update. The sucker is strengthened. And, well, it's a Category 4 right now. Wow. Miller and Moulton, thanks for listening. Florida Sports Network.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
David, right as you said that it was a Category 4, it was downgraded. It is now a Category 3.
OKW is saying that it's made landfall.
That's why it's probably
yeah. Ooh, yeah. Callie's getting hit really good right now. Yeah, this thing is flying. Like, it is going super fast right now.
Wow. They began records in 1850 of hurricanes. This is the first hurricane to hit that area. It's
so true, though. Every time you've ever thought about hurricanes and
obviously it's true if they've been keeping records since 1850 and this is the first one. That's kind of the definition of what is true.
No, I know, but like Pensacola area, there was one that hit it bad like 4 years ago, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, they've been lucky until now.
DC, obviously there are, the south side, north side, but if you were being objective about this, in not just Chicago, but in the outlying areas, more Cubs fans or White Sox fans? I mean, from what I've been led to believe, there's far more Cubs fans. RCB, I don't think it matters at all if the Rays are successful or not. It's just business for Major League Baseball.
Oh boy.
What's that?
Cantori just posted storm surges at 6 feet.
Supposed to
just
talk
racing through Cedar Key.
I've heard forecasts were up to 16 feet.
Yeah, I know. It's just starting.
Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Thanks so much for being with us. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. David Bearman, Pro Football Network, profootballnetwork.com. He'll join us in a little more than 15 minutes. Talk about cut down day yesterday. Seth Everett will make his weekly appearance. He'll begin doing it earlier than he has for the last 12 plus years. He'll do it now at 8 o'clock on Wednesdays. That's because we're going to have Bud Elliott at around 8:30 or so every Wednesday, talking college football. And goodness knows there's a lot to talk about there. For those joining us in the Diamond District bonus hour, Bob Harig of Sports Illustrated is going to join us about Zach Johnson and the U.S. Ryder Cup captain's picks yesterday. Mark, did you see the story? And I don't know if it's a story, but anyway, it was on social media. And I'll be honest with you, I don't know if I saw it on X or if I saw it on X after it was posted on TikTok. But anyway, so, we've been given the countdown, the numbers as to how long we have to go till football season starts. A husband gave his 2 weeks notice to his wife. Not forever. It's a seasonal thing.
He's taking a sabbatical from his marriage, basically, is what it is.
Said he's going to be temporarily unavailable all day Saturday and Sunday, for that matter, and that he needs flexibility on Thursday and Monday nights.
In my house, fortunately, I don't have to give that to my wife, but it's my daughter who has the football angst towards me. Every time she sees football, and I've asked her, I said, why don't you like football? Because you don't pay enough attention to me.
So you're just figuring this out, huh?
She's, I said, well, you can sit right next to me and we can learn the game together this year, which was of no interest to her whatsoever. I've got to find her Randy Arozarena in football, because she loves Randy Arozarena, likes watching him play, likes the Rays, likes baseball, but has not developed a love for football.
What if you assume the pose? What if you assume the Arozarena pose? Somehow, like before you sit down, if you look at her and you give her the pose, kind of like the football's on, you ready? Get ready, let's do it. And then you pose to each other.
Huh. I usually just do that on Make It Happen night.
I understand. But how about this? Every touchdown, to get your daughter into football, you say, hey, every touchdown we pose.
Well, I think we've got to find, maybe it's Tua doing something in the end zone this year. I've got to find her a player to gravitate towards, because I don't think me doing the Randy Arozarena during a football game is going to help. I like the idea. I like the passion, but I don't know if that's going to help at all.
For the record, the wife, who was laughing with every paragraph more and more, at the end folded it in thirds, gave it back to him, and said, unfortunately, we're short-staffed. I can't accept your resignation.
Good for her.
But he gave her 2 weeks, just more into, I guess, NFL than college. Either that or he timed it out too late. But apparently he submitted his 2 weeks notice here recently.
May have had obligations for Labor Day and couldn't get that worked into what he was looking for. And let's be honest, I know it's here and I'm fired up. I'm fired up about a handful of games, but this is not the weekend where and you may, just because you've missed it so much, watch football Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I get it. And I understand why. But we've got North Carolina and South Carolina. That's under a field goal of one ranked team in that game. We've got LSU and Florida State. That's under a field goal with 2 ranked teams.
Right. Well, and 2 top 10 teams. I mean, that could be the best non-conference game of the year. I mean, it really could. I mean,
in terms of rankings, it will either be that or Ohio State and Notre Dame, David.
Yeah.
Or for that matter, if Notre Dame beats Ohio State, which I know seems unlikely, then it might be USC and Notre Dame.
Because even Alabama, Texas, Texas right now just outside the top 10 in most places. So that'll be like number, 3, 4 against number 11, 12, something like that. So, but this could be the non-conference game of the year when all is said and done. Florida State and LSU. Sunday in Orlando. Weather expected to be great, by the way. Not that anybody cares, but the weather's, kind of on our mind the last couple of days. So this sucker is going to be gone by the end of the week. So there you have it. Well, you might want to try it at home if you could give your 2-week notice.
I want to hear how it goes. Feel free, if you use that method, to text us with how it worked out with your significant other, if she accepted your 2-week notice, or if, like this woman, she gave it back to you and said, well, we're short-staffed.
David Bearman, Pro Football Network, will join us coming up in 10 minutes' time. Seth Everett will join us at the top of the hour. Bud Elliott in a little more than an hour. We're hoping to catch back up with Mike Clay, chief meteorologist at Bay News 9. Have to admit, they are probably just a touch busy.
Yes. The pictures are not very pretty. I've already seen them from Cedar Key, but even in Tampa, there's some flooding. The bridges taking out a lot of water. A bunch of bridges are closed, obviously, and the outlying areas, access to them is closed and things of that nature. So,
and it is making landfall or expected to make landfall any minute. And then, in some places that's being reported, it's already made landfall. Was a Cat 4. Will quickly be downgraded to a Cat 3. But the Cedars Key area, which has never been hit by something like this before, and up to 16 feet of storm surge is what they are expecting.
And it's already at 6 feet in those areas. And obviously here in Southwest Florida, we know all too well what that storm surge can do. And our thoughts are with you, and just hope that this goes by as quickly as possible is all you can really hope for.
Jim Cantori's in Cedars Key.
People, he gets on social media in a hurry. Anybody sees him at an airport, they're taking shots, taking pictures with Cantori. I did see, with all the people that have moved to Florida, I did see a GIF, and now it's not as funny, but it did say, welcome to Florida. My name's Jim. I'll be your tour guide. It is, when you see him, you run. And unfortunately, Cedar Key is the one seeing him right now.
Well, was it Irma 5 years ago that went right up I-75? It hit Southwest Florida pretty hard, and I thought I had planned things out really well. I was out of town doing college football, but I had put my wife and my mother-in-law, made arrangements for the pets and everything, and I brought them inland, and I put them in a certain hotel, and I was feeling like, listen, I am a rock star. I really am. And then I saw Jim Cantore live from outside the same hotel, and I thought to myself, I cannot believe what I just did. Here it is. I thought I was leading him to safety, and Cantore had a rope literally tied around his waist, tied to one of the pillars of the hotel to keep him in place, okay, for the 100-mile-an-hour winds. And I'm like, I'll be darned. I think that's my car in the parking lot. Huh. That's where I have my wife and mother-in-law and pets. That's fantastic. Everybody likes Jim Cantore, and at the same time, they don't want to see him.
Boy, that is a 100% true statement right there. He still remains popular, but it's the last guy you want to see in your hometown. Miller and Moulton, the text line open at 21,000. David Bearman from Pro Football Network to join us next. Seth Everett coming up top of the hour. Bud Elliott and Bob Harig still to join on Miller and Moulton right here on the Florida Sports Network.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Myers.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Well, Canada relief, I hope you're right, but he was hurt in the preseason, so that always worries me.
Also, not to be a homer here, but I'm pretty sure Tyreek Hill is still in the NFL.
And I'm pretty sure Justin Jefferson's better than him.
Debatable.
And the fact that there's Waddle and other guys on the team that I don't think numbers-wise. I mean, I know he wants his 2,000 yards. If they're going to be a good team, he's not going to get it.
If Tua stays healthy all year, anything can happen.
My point is, you don't want him to have 2,000 yards. If the Miami Dolphins are going to be good, they're not going to do it because Tyreek Hill got 2,000 yards receiving. They got it because they run the football. So if you want him to win, you don't want that.
I mean, why not both? Why not just have the
Once again,
why not just have the greatest offense of all time? Why not?
you're right, Felipe. He'll get 2,000 yards. Waddle will get 1,500, and they'll have two 1,000-yard rushers. My fault. They're going to win the Super Bowl.
The ceiling is the roof.
Yeah, I don't know. Felipe, is the play of the day going to be ready for 8:21?
Yes. David's on hold.
That's great.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes before the hour, and on a hump day, we will talk with someone from Pro Football Network throughout the NFL season. And the gentleman who's been kind enough to join us for the last handful of shows at this day and time is David Bearman, Chief Content Officer for Pro Football Network, profootballnetwork.com. Follow him on Twitter or X at David Bearman, Bearman PFN, David Bearman PFN. Follow Pro Football Network on X at PFN365. David, it's David and Mark. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, and hope you guys are okay. I know you're not in the direct path of the storm, but I know you're getting stuff down there. So having been a veteran of many down there, I hope everybody down there is safe and sound and out of the way of the storm that's out there right now.
Well, thank you, and no doubt it's obviously going to be a tough day for those in the Big Bend area as it's making landfall really as we speak right now. But we'll turn our attention to football. Were you surprised that Jonathan Taylor wasn't dealt, or did you think it was a smokescreen all along?
I'm not surprised he wasn't dealt. I don't think it's a total smokescreen, but you have to look at the way Jim Irsay and the Colts put on a master class of, we control you right now, and I know you might hold out and get fined and all that, but at the same time, we control what happens. And to say go ahead and sign the deal full well knowing weeks after running back deals have been shown to be not in the market for owners and stuff. And when it comes down to the NFL, these owners know exactly what they're doing at all time, especially when it comes to the mighty dollar. We've seen the suppression of the market with running back deals. That's been a hot topic the last 2 weeks. So when the owner says, weeks after saying you're not going anywhere, okay, fine, go find yourself a trade. Do I think there were teams interested? Yes. I think the Miami Dolphins, which I'm sure we'll get to in a minute, did make an offer or two for him. And I think there are other teams that did. But at the end of the day, the deal wasn't good enough. And I don't think the Colts were really in the market to trade him. So part smokescreen, part, hey, Jonathan, go look at the market, see what you can get, and you're going to come back to us any day now anyway. So I'm not at all surprised that he hasn't been traded. I still think there might be a deal out there, but it won't happen before the season starts in the next week.
I just don't understand, David, why Irsay would not trade him now, because I could argue you will get more for him now than you will at the deadline. And if, in fact, he is less than 100%, I mean, they are starting him on the PUP list after all. I mean, I don't know what you're going to get from him a year from now. If at most he's going to play 13 games. Plus, let's be honest, how motivated is he going to be when he comes back? I just don't understand what the culture. Are they really going to tag him the next 2 years to keep a guy who doesn't want to be there? I don't know what they're doing.
There comes, I mean, do you sell low when you're supposed to sell high and buy low would be the question. If I guess on one hand, what you're saying is get what you can get because you're not going to get any more later. But on the other hand, it seems to be a chess match that, who's going to blink first. I do think there's a good point that you just made that you're not going to get anything more than you're going to get now because the market is what it is. But at the same time, I'm not sure. Irsay seems to be like, you know what? If I don't get anything, I don't get anything. No one wants running backs, and I think it's going to get. You're not going to see teams like the Atlanta Falcons drafting Bijan Robinson in the top 5 very often, unless you have a once in a generational running back that you think you can use 3 or 4 years. And I think Irsay's punting, quite frankly, and it makes no sense. Like you said, like get something out of him. But I think Irsay's like, you know what? If you don't want to play, don't play. We'll go get somebody else that's younger, and if I don't get as much as I get out of you, in his eyes, he's won because Taylor's not getting his money. But I do see your point and at least get something out of him. But none of us really know what the offers were. A lot of people on the internet think that they know what they're talking about. A lot of people on Twitter/X saying this was the offer, this was the offer, this was the offer. We actually don't really know any particular offer that was made from Jonathan Taylor. We know a lot of speculation. For all we know, nobody offered anything higher than a 3rd-round pick. And if that's the case, I don't necessarily blame them for just giving him away.
Well, word was the Dolphins had offered a 2, but you're right. We don't know. And if you're Miami, do you look back? Is this a point that they're going to look back on and regret? Is their running back room good enough without Jonathan Taylor to go far in the playoffs? And I'm not going to say win a Super Bowl, but the expectations for Miami aren't just to be a wild card. They're to contend for this division and win a game in the postseason.
What we've seen and heard from the Miami Dolphins the last couple of years, not just in the running back room, but in the quarterback room, is the Dolphins are very active in exploring options to put all cards on the table, which you don't blame them because if you're not looking, you have no idea what's out there. But they've also shown tremendous restraint, and this is not the same Dolphins team of old that would go sign every notable free agent possible. They've shown tremendous restraint in the quarterback room and in the running back room to stick to the people that they brought with them. And I think that's admirable for Chris Greer and company. Now, will it come back to bite them in the butt if their quarterback gets injured and they didn't go get a Deshaun Watson or an Aaron Rodgers over the last few years? And if their running backs are not as good as they think they are and they could have gotten a Dalvin Cook or they could have gotten a Zeke Elliott or they could have gotten a Jonathan Taylor, time will tell. But I think the Dolphins personally believe who they have in Tua and who they have in their running back committee with Wilson and Mostert and the rookie and Ahmed. And those guys are good enough to take them where they need to go because they were above average last year for a team that didn't exactly run the ball often. And they signed all 4 guys, including Myles Gaskin, who was just recently cut. They signed all 4 guys they had last year and brought them all back on team-friendly deals, basically saying, we like you, but we're going to explore other options in case there is something better, because they could have gotten out of any 4 of those deals they got, plus they have the rookie, if they decided to sign a Dalvin Cook or a Jonathan Taylor. So I think that they're smart in exploring options, but they're showing tremendous restraint with, we have a good enough backfield. But if the option's out there and the Colts want to give us Jonathan Taylor for a second-round pick, or Dalvin Cook wants to come for $6 million or $5 million, we'll do it. But we're not going to break bank or give up draft picks, which, again, is not the Dolphins' style normally. So I think it's admirable that they're going with their guys and showing restraint, while at the same time exploring options and doing it the right way and not burning bridges.
David Bearman, Pro Football Network, ProFootballNetwork.com. Follow him on X at David Bearman, Bearman, David Bearman, PFN, David Bearman, PFN. Of all the maneuverings that took place yesterday, I mean, 3 punters let go, 3 kickers were traded in the last 36 hours. Of all the maneuverings that took place yesterday, what grabbed your attention?
I think 2 things grabbed my attention. One, the New England Patriots seem to, for whatever reason, be all in on Mac Jones when they've never shown they're all in on Mac Jones before yesterday, and I don't think anybody ever believed they're all in on Mac Jones, but Zappy gets cut, other people got cut, and there's really nobody else on the team that would challenge Mac Jones. So maybe Bill Belichick knows something we don't, or is playing his version of 3D chess that we don't. I know it's not the biggest story in the NFL, but I think people were a little bit surprised to see Zappy get cut. And then we all knew Mac Jones was going to be the starter, but I don't think we realized that now he has no competition, which seems a little odd. And of course, the other one would be Jonathan Taylor officially not being dealt and automatically staying on the PUP list and being not eligible to play for the next 4 weeks. I think it was a little bit of a surprise. I didn't necessarily assume he was going to be dealt, but I also didn't think he would stay on the PUP list either because, call it what it is. Is it really an injury, or is it a guy that just doesn't want to play? And now the Colts have the advantage with not having to play him. So I think those were the 2 big things. But, Adam Kaplan, who works for the Pro Football Network, told me and Adam Beasley, our Dolphins writer, the cut down days are more about non-surprises than surprises, because you pretty much, it's like the old adage with March Madness. Why are we paying attention, with all due respect to Joey Lunardi? Last 4 in and first 4 out, when it really doesn't matter in the long scheme of things. Those teams aren't winning national titles. With the 3 53-man roster cuts, we're talking about the 53rd and 54th and 55th player on a roster. Does it really matter in the long range? None of the guys that got cut yesterday are difference makers when it comes to a Super Bowl, but there are a couple names out there that surprised me, and Bailey Zappi was one of them.
Well, on that, what do you think of the roster of the New England Patriots, and how much is the GM, Bill Belichick, hurting the coach, Bill Belichick?
I mean, we've talked about this for 20, 25 years, and Bill Parcells and others who have cut their nose off to spite their face in terms of great football guys, and they're better as coaches than GMs. We saw it with in Green Bay with McCarthy. We've seen it with other, I believe, in Seattle with Holmgren. And now you might be seeing it with Belichick. And it's weird because we're talking about a guy who is one of the best football minds in the game and automatic Hall of Famer. And it might take down Don Shula's record one day and 6 Super Bowls and on and on and on. But this New England Patriots roster is not your grandfather's New England Patriots here. It's not a good roster at all. And I don't know how much of it is the GM of Bill Belichick now versus the GM of Bill Belichick 10 years ago. We had the same problem with Jimmy Johnson in Miami. What he built in Dallas in the 90s, early 90s, he couldn't rebuild in Miami in the late 90s because all the rules changed with the salary cap. And all of a sudden you had a team that had no offense under Jimmy, that had the best offense under Jimmy with Dallas. So now the rules haven't necessarily changed for Belichick. I'm just not sure he's talent evaluating like he used to. And what we know about Bill Belichick that built the dynasty is he would not surround his team with stars. He would surround his teams with other people's garbage or other people's scraps, and he would say, I'm going to win with these guys. Well, that's not working anymore. So maybe he doesn't have the Midas touch, or maybe the guys that are scraps from other teams aren't as good as they were 10 years ago, because you look at that roster now, and I know he's won with non-talented rosters on offense. They don't have any playmakers. And now in the NFL, you need playmakers with wide open offenses. And he doesn't have that anymore. He also doesn't have number 12, but he's at least made the playoffs without number 12 before.
There's a big three in the AFC the last 2 years. Does that get expanded, or does one or two of the big three get taken down? You know, last year at the end of the day, it ended up being Buffalo, Cincinnati, Kansas City. And that's what it was the year before also. And there really is not a fourth. You could argue if Baltimore had stayed healthy, they might have been each of the last 2 years. So I'm just curious, when you look at the AFC, are one of those teams or more being brought back down this year? And if so, who supplants them?
I'm going to leave Kansas City alone. I think the defending Super Bowl champs, who have played in 5 consecutive AFC title games, are better. Like, not much has changed. You know, maybe you lose Juju Smith-Schuster, but you replace them with somebody else, whether it's Sky Moore or somebody else. And the running backs are just rotating guys who are never going to be stars, but they're good enough. And then you have the MVP, so and arguably one of the best coaches of all time. So I'm going to leave Kansas City in their own category. As far as Buffalo and Cincinnati, I do have concerns. So I think it still could be the big three. Sure, they're talented enough to do that. Something is missing in Buffalo. You've just not taken that extra step. You've won the AFC East a couple of times in a row. You've won 12, 13 games. It's really not been a competition. But then you go ahead and get blown out at home by Cincinnati in the playoffs, especially with all of the emotional momentum with DeMar Hamlin and all that stuff. And you still got blown out at home by Cincinnati. I like the Bengals. I think the Bengals can go back to their 3rd straight AFC title game, but Joe Burrow also is not 100%. If he winds up being 100%, I will put Cincinnati with Kansas City. But without Joe Burrow, and who knows how Joe Mixon is going to be, I do have questions. Buffalo, like I said, there's something missing there. They could still be back, but I think that AFC East is highly more competitive than it's ever been. You have the Jets with Rodgers. You have the Dolphins of healthier contenders. We talked about New England not being there, but they're never going to go away with Belichick. I think Buffalo will be challenged of those three. As far as Cincy, I still like them, but Baltimore's really good. Cleveland can be really good, and I say can be because they always seem to screw it up. And Pittsburgh with Tomlin, who is an above 500 team every single year of his career, isn't disappearing, especially with their talent. So I'm not as sold on Cincy and Buffalo running away with the divisions like Kansas City can do. And I do think there's opportunities for Baltimore, Cleveland, Miami, and New York to upset the apple cart a little bit when it comes to those two teams.
He's David Bearman of Pro Football Network, profootballnetwork.com. Follow him on Twitter/X at David Bearman, Bearman PFN. David Bearman PFN. Follow Pro Football Network on X at PFN 365. David, when we talk again, if it's next week, we'll be on the eve of the season. Be safe, be well.
Thank you. You guys stay safe out there, and hopefully everybody comes out great, and we'll be talking some real NFL games next week.
That'll be awesome. David Bearman, Pro Football Network, joining us here on Miller and Moulton.
I'm already looking at week 1 spreads. I'm already now worried about the Bills. With Von Miller missing 4 games, that seems like that's going to be an issue right off the bat with their game with the Jets, and you'll be there for that one. We'll talk with Seth Everett next. Miller and Moulton right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're gonna have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Hey, David, have you texted Seth this morning? Did you text Seth this morning by chance to remind him?
I texted him yesterday.
All right, I'm going to send him one right now. Just to remind, he's usually on way ahead of time, and we're 3 minutes away, so.
All right.
Good call, Adam. Not that I watch a lot of TV on the go, but good call.
Michael, I would argue, what is the NBC2 crew doing within 50 miles of the eye of the storm? They service Fort Myers, Naples. I would never send my crew 300-400 miles away to cover a hurricane.
There it is. There's Jim Cantori right on my phone. YouTube TV, David. He's got short sleeves on because he's tough.
He's in his early 60s, I think. Looks good. He's always been in great shape.
Likes to do curls.
He's 59, actually. Not bad.
Come on, Seth. You got a minute.
It could be it, Michael. He could be fussing as to what to wear.
That's not usually the case, though. He's usually logged in way ahead of time.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. What do you want to talk about?
We can go football or golf.
Football.
I do want to challenge you about something off the hop.
Okay.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
And it is the third and final hour of Miller and Moulton along the network in Lake City and surrounding areas. And boy, are you guys in our thoughts today. Tampa St. Pete, and you're in our thoughts as well. You know you've been sideswiped and you've got some flooding in the Barrier Islands. Life has not been good. So we hope you and your family and everyone is safe. Southwest Florida, avoiding the worst of this one. And after Ian last year, they were owed a break, so to speak, although there was flooding along the coast and what have you. But Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. The Diamond District bonus hour is coming up 1 hour from now. Mark, have you watched any of Hard Knocks?
Not a second.
Okay.
I just resubscribed to HBO. I can watch it. Thought about it the other day, but no.
Well, and you are very anti the Jets in 2023 because of their attitude, their whining, their kvetching before Hard Knocks even began.
Yes,
and
that is an accurate statement.
By all accounts, it's been really good. People really like it. Don't know if it's, the access to Aaron Rodgers and, but people who have watched it are like, wow, this is one of the better Hard Knocks. The Jets produce good Hard Knocks, and Rodgers and Saleh and everybody apparently has been great. And when they kind of gave the indication before the camera showed up that they were not going to be great. Now, the only thing Saleh did insist on was they were not going to show guys getting cut. Saleh said, that ain't happening. Don't care. You call the commissioner. Don't care. That ain't happening. But if you watch any of the Hard Knocks, I urge you to watch the final episode.
Okay.
Did you see what HBO did?
I did not.
They recreated their own Sopranos intro with Robert Saleh driving the car.
That's good. It's really good. I've got nothing to be anti that. One of the greatest shows that's ever aired on television. And it's their show, so they have the ability to steal from it.
Same neck of the woods, too.
Right.
The shots of Jersey that are shown in the Sopranos Open are all the northern part of the Jersey Turnpike. And where the Jets play at MetLife Stadium is in the northern 10, 12 miles of the Jersey Turnpike. And so now it's not where Florham Park is, which is where the Jets training camp is. That's more inland and it's a nicer area. There's a really nice country club nearby. Okay. But where MetLife is, you see it right from the turnpike there.
Really the only part of Jersey I've ever been in. I did when they tried to make roller hockey a sport, I broadcast it for one summer, and we did a game in Jersey against the New Jersey Rock and Rollers. I was working for the Atlanta Fire Ants. There are some bad minor league names for you right there.
You guys were the Fire Ants?
The Fire Ants.
Out of Atlanta? Wouldn't you expect that to be a Florida franchise?
No, they're pretty big in Atlanta, too.
Okay. All right. So the Fire Ants against the
New Jersey Rock and Rollers.
Rock and Rollers. Wow.
The Brendan Byrne Arena, David.
There you go. The governor named the arena after himself. He said, I provided the financing, and they named it after him. And there are people in Jersey who are like, who the hell's Brendan Byrne? He's the guy who gave the funding for this. So they named the arena after him. It's where the New Jersey Nets and the New Jersey Devils played before the Nets went to Brooklyn. And then the Devils said, we got to leave this. We got to get our own arena. This ain't working for us. But anyway, Mark, it's funny that 15-mile stretch because, Newark Airport is, once again, if you're talking Jersey, we have to talk which exit. So on the Turnpike, the northernmost exits are 18 and there's a couple letters. Where MetLife Stadium is, that's off of exit 16, E and W. Okay, that's Newark is 14. There's A, B, and C. So on the Jersey Turnpike, and if you see the oil stacks and refineries, those are off of exit 13. So that's the northern stretch of the Jersey Turnpike right there, 13 through 18. That's all the shots in the Sopranos Open. And Mark, as you said, a lot of people fly into Jersey. They land in Newark. What do? They head in the city. And so the only stretch of Jersey that they see are those 12 to 15 miles.
Yep. Done it twice. Once when I went to the city, once to broadcast a Rock and Rollers Fire Ants roller hockey international game.
Wow. Roller hockey. Is that, by the way, what took you to the Montreal Forum?
Yes.
Which, with all due respect, then, that's one of the greatest gigs you've ever had in your life. If it brought you to the Montreal Forum.
I was able to broadcast again. I don't remember what the Montreal team name was, but Cornwall was their coach.
Oh, my goodness. That's outstanding. Now, that's you and I don't save credentials.
I do. You have a lot more. I should say I did. I don't get them anymore, so I don't go anywhere.
So you saved in your hockey, roller derby, roller hockey, whatever it was, and you did some basketball and other sports. So you saved your credentials.
I did. Well, and the funny thing about the forum is you were supposed to give that little badge back at the end of the night. And I'm like, the hell I'm giving this back. It's got the Canadiens logo on it. It's from the Montreal Forum. That's coming home with me.
Well, the only credential that I can recall saving in recent memory was the Super Bowl one. That one I said, I got to keep this one.
I don't blame you.
Seth Everett joins us now. Okay, we probably have just enough time to plug your two podcasts. It's almost as if you did this on purpose. But so this new time threw you for a loop, didn't it?
I had a whole plan too. I was going to give you all one-word answers. I was going to say, this is what you get at 8 a.m. I was going to go, yeah, cool. That's what I was planning. But last night I didn't finish Sports with Friends till about 1:45. And I said, I have some time. I have the kids at dentist at 10. I was like, I'll just shut the alarm. And I did. Sorry, guys.
That's fine.
It could have been 8:30. It could have been 9 o'clock. I would have missed it too.
Okay. All right.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. It's all right.
But Sports with Friends came out great.
Seth Everett will join us at 8 o'clock when he can wake up in time on Wednesdays going forward.
Well, next week the kids will be in school. I'll be up.
Have you kept? What have you kept? You've traveled. You've been. You've done games all over the country.
Yeah.
Do you keep anything from the games you work? Do you have a collection of stuff that you've kept, whether it's credentials or anything like that?
I have one of those frames that you can put things in. I don't know the name, what they're called, but and it's a frame that hangs. I can't take it down, but it hangs in, and then every year I add to it. Credentials. But I save Super Bowls. I have 2 Super Bowl credentials. bunch of U.S. Opens, some Stanley Cup stuff. You know, it's just all, I love those things. Darren Ravel sells them. He sells them on eBay, and he makes money on them. I don't know why, but he does.
Hold on a second.
Yeah.
People will buy your
Other people's credentials, yeah. Memorabilia people, yeah.
Huh.
Uh-oh.
Totally.
That Montreal Forum one's going on eBay in about 1 hour and 55 minutes.
Think about that, Seth. Mark's got a credential from the old Montreal Forum.
That's cool. That's very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very cool. Yeah. I mean, I have a bunch of old stadiums that I've been to. Veteran Stadium, the old Baltimore Stadium, the Kingdome. I've been to the Kingdome.
Now I have to admit,
McNichols Arena, when it was torn down, people asked me what I thought about McNichols Arena being torn down. I go, I think I left my sunglasses in there.
that is something I would keep. And I don't keep much of anything. But if the place where I got the credential from no longer exists,
Yeah, I have a lot of those.
I think I would keep that as well. But listen, so very quickly then, and we'll get into a habit.
Quickly,
8
this
o'clock
is
on
it?
Wednesdays. Yeah,
This is it. We're done.
Pretty much it.
yeah, yeah.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
a quick
it's just-
segment.
Well,
Well, when you join it 8 minutes after it starts, it tends to
Right.
be a little quicker.
I mean, it's a 12, 13-minute segment. You joined us 8 minutes in.
I'm
I
so
mean,
sorry.
don't know what you
Really.
were thinking here.
Sports with Friends is really great, though.
Well, tell us about it, Seth.
It was worth it. I spoke to 9 of the top 10 tennis players in the world. Coco Gauff, Francis Tiafoe, Carlos Alcaraz, Iga Swiatek, Novak Djokovic, Jessica Pegula, Taylor Fritz, Ons Jabeur, and Caroline Wozniacki, plus my friend Russ Taylor he used to be with NBC. He's calling matches for ESPN Plus. He does work for Tennis Channel. All those guys are all on the podcast, and it was a blast. I went to Media Day there. I've already been to the event twice. I was there Monday. I'm going Thursday. The U.S. Open's been captivating me, but that's where I was. And putting them all together and finding the right clips that fit the narrative and fit the story took forever.
What's the story?
Well, it's each of them. Ons Jabeur talks, for example, about the possibility of the WTA finals being in Saudi Arabia. Carlos Alcaraz talks about being recognized.
And
Novak
by the way,
Djokovic-
hold on. For those that don't know, she is from Israel.
Nope, she's from
Okay.
Tunisia.
I'm sorry. My bad.
it's okay.
I apologize.
She's the first ever Arab to make
Right.
a Grand Slam final. We talked to Novak Djokovic talks about whether he was bitter when he was home watching the U.S. Open last year. There's a million of them. There's a bunch of great stories. The podcast, like I'm not joking. The podcast came out great. Whenever I say that, it's nothing I did. I just put it together.
Okay. Sports with Friends. Is
A guy by the name
is
of
it at least
Jordan
decent?
Jordan Gorfinkel. Yeah, he's very good. Jordan Gorfinkel was the editor of Batman in the 90s, which is, for Batman fans, Nightfall and No Man's Land. Plus, we do a tribute to the late, great Arlene Sorkin, who was the first ever Harley Quinn.
Okay. Seth Everett, yes, he will be earlier than he has ever been. Okay, which is
I
a
had
shock
whole
to
bit
Seth.
planned. Whole bit planned.
Mark, by the way, Mark snuffed you out. Mark knew you were going to do it. He predicted it earlier in the show.
Yep.
That I was going to oversleep.
No, that you were going to have an act. That
Yep.
you were.
Oh,
coming
I had a whole act planned. I just that I feel bad. That's not like me.
No, it's not, Seth. Don't let it happen again.
Especially for all that we're paying you.
Right.
He's Seth Everett, Sports with Friends, Hall of Justice. Those are his 2 terrific podcasts. Follow him on X at Seth_Everett.
On X.
Miller and Moulton. The play of the day is coming up next. Bud Elliott in 25 minutes.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Myers.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
You snuffed that out. I'm sorry, Adam.
Miles Gaskin signing with the Vikings, according to Schefter.
So we can come back with Will Greer to Cincinnati. Miles Gaskin to Minnesota.
The ratings for Notre Dame Navy were pretty big for a terrible football game.
Okay, we can get.
I don't want to say big, but it did 3.5 million viewers.
Okay, bring that up because then I got something ratings driven.
So I'm going to Pittsburgh for Christmas this year. No, it wasn't my choice. In fact, I wasn't even consulted, David. But the Steelers play the Bengals on the 26th or whatever. What's Christmas? Saturday?
Christmas is a Tuesday, isn't it?
Monday.
So
Christmas Eve, probably going to see Steelers Bengals, so I get to see a Joe Burrow. So far, I've been to 3 Steelers games. A Joe Flacco 93-yard drive to beat the Steelers on the road. Ravens Steelers, best rivalry in the game. Andrew Luck, and now a Joe Burrow.
Hell, we could also try to figure out how late in Luck's career did it turn out to be. How many more games did he have?
Another year after that? I think.
What year did you see him?
I don't know.
Okay.
No, I have Steelers. I'm a proud owner of Philadelphia, Pittsburgh Steelers season tickets. Yeah, I'm actually with you, David. What on God's green earth is NBC? Why are they sending their people up to that? That doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, I also, with as traumatic as last year was, I don't know that if you're in Southwest Florida, whether you're all excited to see it happen to someone else. Right.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Bud Elliott to make the first of his weekly appearances on Miller and Moulton, coming up in a little more than 15 minutes time. And for those sticking around, most of you in the 239 for the Diamond District bonus hour, Bob Harig will join us in 40 minutes to talk Zach Johnson's U.S. Ryder Cup captain's picks and how he sees the Ryder Cup shaping up 1 month from now in Italy.
21,000 is the text line, 21000 if you want to join in the show that way, or you can go to twitch.tv/Miller and Moulton. David, the Notre Dame Navy game was a blowout, but it attracted nearly or over 3.5 million viewers. It was down from last year's Nebraska Northwestern game by quite a bit. That was on Fox. That did 4.4 million a year ago. This one did 3.56 million.
That game was a much better game. Nebraska blew a 2-score lead in the second half, in part because with a 2-score lead, they decided to do an onside kick. Northwestern recovered, scored, got back in the game, and eventually won. Helped lead to Scott Frost's demise at Nebraska sooner rather than later. So, but that is interesting. Notre Dame involved in a game. Also, usually our armed forces teams do pretty well, and yet the ratings were down noticeably. But as you pointed out, it was a blowout, and it was a blowout early.
Yeah, I mean, they scored on their first 3 possessions, I believe, and never really looked back after that. So it was a very one-sided affair.
Some inside baseball about television ratings. So Nielsen's apparently changing how it is that they are going to determine their ratings. And apparently they've changed it in a way which is going to be very pro streaming as a whole, but also Amazon specifically for Thursday nights. And the television networks, CBS, NBC, Fox, are losing their minds over it.
Livid, like issuing statements about it. This isn't just some behind-the-scenes talk that you catch a New York Post article saying, well, sources tell me that the networks are upset. No, they're issuing statements of how much they disagree with what's happening here.
And there has been a discussion within the industry for a while, like, you sure we can't do better at Nielsen? And I wonder if this will lead actually the networks to branching out on their own and coming up with a new service besides Nielsen. Nielsen a few years ago actually had to change how they were coming up with their numbers because the networks proved to them that they were off, and they were off in a negative way. Like they were saying we have 2 million viewers when in fact we have 3. So get your together. The NFL, by the way, is seemingly behind Nielsen's decision. Why? Because the NFL knows the future is
streaming, and they want their Amazon numbers to look good now.
One other ratings bit before we get to the play of the day. CBS Sports yesterday released their golf ratings for the year. And they televised more golf than I think they've ever televised before this year because they ended up having the entire FedEx Cup playoffs, which normally NBC has. But CBS got it this year. Now, Mark, we've talked a lot of golf in the last year and a half because LIV has made golf more topical, controversial, what have you. You would think with all the extra money, all the extra attention that golf has received, at least I would have thought that golf ratings, particularly since the best guys on tour all had big years, right?
Yes, no question. I mean, obviously, Rory's still doing what he's doing. Scheffler there, John Rahm, they were all there right through the bitter end.
CBS's ratings were up 1% from the year before. 1%. Now, this does not take into account the Masters of the PGA. Now, the 9 designated events that they had, the big money, full field.
Everybody's got to show up event.
Right. They were up 5% from the year before. They were up about 100,000 viewers. Take a guess, by the way, the average round of golf on CBS. How many people do you think are watching?
1.5 million?
Higher.
Well, they do about a 3 rating, don't they, for a golf event? So maybe closer to 3 million.
The average round of golf has about 2.25 million viewers. Okay. Of the designated events, those events did about 2 2/3 million viewers. And golf television, by the way, is very profitable, because think about it. Who's advertising? People who are selling golf clubs and golf balls and golf equipment.
And also high-end advertisers.
Right.
The audience for golf is a very affluent audience.
Right.
So what are you getting? You're getting financial companies.
Insurance and Beamers and Mercedes. Right. So golf is very profitable. It's why networks, even though it costs a lot of money and what have you, they make money on golf. Believe me, there are a lot of sports they would drop before they would drop golf. Fox dropped golf because they were losing tens of millions because they paid entirely too much for the U.S. Open. So you went ratings. I thought I'd use it to slip in some ratings there. Got a lot of golf fans along the west coast of Florida, and 2 of the top 3 markets in the country are listening to our show.
Time now for our play of the day. Felipe, what do you have for us?
Reds at Giants, and in the 8th inning, Alex Cobb had a no-hitter going. Pop fly to the outfield. Austin Slater saves the day.
Slater coming in, and he dives in. He made the catch! Wow. Oh, my word. Unbelievable. Austin Slater takes a hit away from Will Benson, and everything is intact thanks to this.
Alex Cobb would take that no-hitter to the 2 outs left in the 9th inning when Spencer Steer ended up spoiling that no-hitter. Giants win either way, 6-1.
The irony is that Cobb said he didn't know he had a no-hitter going, because in the 3rd inning, he had given up a hit. It had been changed to an error. He said he wasn't thinking about a no-hitter till later in the game. I was thinking about trying to throw a 1-hitter and challenging the play to get a no-hitter like in a week.
Cobb ended up finishing his complete game on a strikeout on Elliott De La Cruz that got him looking to
131 pitches complete.
There we go. Now we're talking. I don't want to hear about his pitch count. I'm watching. He's getting everybody out. We're fighting for a playoff spot. He stays in the damn game. There you go. By the way, Mike Krukow, Dwayne Kuiper, Mike Krukow with the call on Giants television there. One of the better booths in the business. Giants are now the 6th seed this morning. The Giants are the 6th seed, last playoff spot in the National League. Diamondbacks a half a game behind them. The Reds are 2 behind the Giants. The Marlins are 3 behind the Giants. Felipe defiantly, proudly, still pushing all his chips into the middle of the table that the Marlins will finish above 500 this year.
A lot more separation in the American League. The Blue Jays are 3.5 back of the wild card spot, and the Red Sox now 6.5. They're done as far as we are concerned on this show. It would take a Dodger-like performance in September, an August Dodgers performance in September out of the Red Sox if they were to make up that kind of ground, or I guess a Seattle Mariner type performance as well.
Dodgers have lost 4 times in the month of August. 4. Today's the 30th. That seems like a pretty good month. We're going to lose once a week for a month. What do you say, guys? Huh. Okay.
Yeah, I guess it does mean you can flip the switch, David.
Yeah. And they've done it with like half their starting pitching going on the IL. I don't know. Maybe they're deep. Maybe this whole Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman thing's going to work out. Bud Elliott talking all things college football. He'll join us next.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Hiking with alligators doesn't seem fun to me, Adam. Just me. I guess hiking with bears isn't much fun either, but all right, come on, bud. Thank you, Adam. I'm just impressed that my wife now 2 days in a row has been able to go to the TV, turn it on, and find what she wants. That's all I really care about. I can figure it out. She was very proud of herself. She might even teach David the YouTube TV class. That's how far she's come.
Gonna be calling her up here soon.
Yeah, how about the Nebraska volleyball game tonight?
Oh my God, 90,000.
It's cool.
That's awesome.
There's Bud. Hi, Bud.
What you guys up to?
You know, avoiding storms, thankfully.
Yeah, no doubt.
Is so the Orlando's airport's open, right? Did Kent State get in yesterday, or are they coming in today? Do you know?
I think they're coming in today. I don't know if the airport's open, but I mean, it basically has to be if they're going to come, right?
How you doing?
Not bad, man. Just busy, but good. You know, excited.
See, we've added some wine to the shelf now above the Coke bottles. That looks to be new.
No, that's Penelope Bourbon.
Oh, I'm sorry.
One of our listeners hooked us up with that. So
nice,
good little thing. Yeah, pretty awesome.
That's very nice.
I think so.
Are you in the basement?
No, no, we don't have a basement. I'm it's like a little loft office.
Gotcha.
It's okay. You guys been doing good?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. We may be expanding here. We find out tomorrow, I think, if we're gaining a market. And we think if we gain one, we may gain one or two others. We're trying to get where you are.
Dude,
on the brand new ESPN there, which is foolish for running that national show instead of ours. But
I agree.
But business good?
Business is really good. Yeah. Just, I mean, busy, but yeah, like, you know, pretty good. Just,
well, that was like four different answers in one there.
Managing.
Here we go.
You know, yeah.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour. That is the new time for Bud Elliott. He of 24/7 Sports, CBS Sports, the Cover 3 podcasts, Nolecast. Man, stop working so much, dude. Follow him on X at Bud Elliott 3. That's 2 L's, 2 T's, and the number 3. How you been?
Been good, guys. What y'all up to?
What do you mean, what are we up to? It's August
Well,
30th.
well,
It's
college football.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Let's do this thing.
Damn right. Let's do this thing. Very quickly before we get into specific things, your take on the whole college football realignment thing, and just obviously you make your living with college football. You need the sport to be healthy. Okay. Do you think this is going to affect the health of the sport in a good way, bad way, or it's just not going to make any difference?
I think people will still watch. Honestly, I have some concerns about, like, if you lose the little guy, like, do people who watch, you know, Bama LSU, are there some people who wouldn't watch that if they no longer go to a La Tech game, if the local team is no longer relevant? Like, do they lose their local connection to the sport, and thus they're just not really into watching the big games on Saturday? I don't know that. I mean, that's it's easy to say yes to that. There's also the question, like, what else would they do on a Saturday, right? Like, are they really not going to watch exciting, high-level football? I mean, this country is pretty addicted to football, so I have a hard time seeing it completely fall off. But yeah, I do worry for it a little bit, right? And I worry if it's not kind of bottom up with, like, you know, if we have lower level college football go away, does that mean, you know, fewer guys want to play high school football because there are fewer spots to go play after high school, right? And then, like, what's sort of the trickle, not down, but trickle up effect of this?
I think that's a valid point. I think when it comes to the watchability, I think you hit the nail on the head, Bud. When my pro teams are bad, I don't watch, and they've not been good for a decade. When my college team is bad, I still watch every Saturday. It's just I don't know if it's the way I was raised and having it been part of my whole life from a very young age, but I do think you're right. We watch our teams. There is no doubt. Is the Utah quarterback going to play? Because I can't figure out why this line keeps shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. I've seen it at 4 this morning.
Yeah, I don't think he's playing. Look, he's probably a 6-point value. They opened 10. I thought when it was sitting 6.5, that's basically a hedge on whether he would play or not, because it's 3.5 down. Now that it's at 4, I think somebody knows, right? This got moved last night about 10:30 down to 4. I mean, I've seen a little bit of 3.5 out there juiced, so I don't anticipate him playing.
Okay, but even with that, I mean, there's a vast difference between the teams. I mean, there's no doubt if they have their starting quarterback, I mean, Utah is every bit a top 15 team in the country. But I mean, even with a backup quarterback, Bud, I mean, what am I missing here? This is a Gators program that's still thin in a lot of spots, incredibly young, even in the areas where they now claim they have depth. And they got a transfer quarterback that nobody wanted. I mean, I'm sorry.
I think that's priced in, though. Honestly, like I took Florida over their win total this year because, I mean, their win total was 5.5. I mean, to me, when I see a 5.5 win total on Florida, they're pricing that as if Graham Mertz sucks, which he very well might. He did at Wisconsin for sure, as we all saw. But if they get any improvement out of him, they like the guys they took on the O-line. I think they hit on both of their defensive line transfers. I think they like the D coordinator they brought in. I think Utah should still be favored in the game, but that's really because coaching, the veteran nature of most of the Utah roster, and the fact that is one of the biggest home fields in the game. But matchup wise, like, I kind of want to drop back and throw the ball on Florida 40 or 50 times because I don't think their pass rush from the outside is great. They're going to have to blitz a lot to get pass rush, but I want to kind of bet teams against Florida who are really competent throwing the ball. And if you're just let's get in a rock fight, I think Florida wants to rock fight 12 times this year.
Absolutely. Do they have the depth to do it, Bud? Are they, I remember a couple of years ago, you said Florida State. Yeah, they've got their starters and they'll be fine. If they lose any, this could go bad quickly. And it did. What's the depth situation like with the Gators, Bud?
I think on the defensive interior, it's okay. I think at edge, it's poor. Offensive line, definitely have some questions. Receivers, certainly some questions. Yeah, there are some spots that they really have to stay healthy. Corner, I think they're kind of okay, honestly. And you guys, I'm waiting to see what they want to do with linebacker. I'm not totally sure what that's going to look like. Shamar James was hurt part of camp. He's back on the depth chart now. I expect him to play. We'll see how good they are at linebacker.
He's Bud Elliott, 24/7 Sports, CBS Sports HQ, 2 terrific podcasts, the Cover 3 podcast and NoCast. Follow him on Twitter, Bud Elliott 3, Bud Elliott, the number 3. All right. Before, there were 7 games or 9 games, whatever got played on Saturday. So, when I ask you to make a pick, even if you're using a team that's already played, that's fine. I'm not going to hold it against you one way or the other. But give me your best sleeper team for the year.
In any conference?
Yeah, in any conference. Like we talked to somebody, I think Mark Packer on Friday goes, guys, wouldn't shock me if Louisville played in the ACC title game. They don't play Clemson, Florida State, North Carolina.
All right, so I agree with Mark. Louisville is a sleeper schedule, and I think there's a pretty good chance that they are a better football team than they were last year. I'll give you UCLA. I bet UCLA for the playoff at 40-1.
Wow.
I think there was some 62. Yeah, they're just priced as if they don't belong with all of the other squads in that league. And I think there are some serious questions that suggest maybe they should not belong. But there are also some outcomes in which they stay pretty healthy at some of their thin positions. And I think their strengths are very strong. I think their receiving core is actually upgraded over last year in terms of explosiveness, even though they lost Bobo to the NFL. The Sturdivant kid they got from Cal is really strong. I think their front seven is pretty nasty. And I still think Chip Kelly can coach. The Dante Moore kid that they got out of Detroit, who they beat, Michigan and a bunch of other schools for, is pretty legit. And I know he's not starting week 1, but I will expect him to play week 1. And I think at some point this year he takes over the job. And we've seen some true freshmen do it, right? Trevor took over for Clemson and a couple other guys too. So UCLA for me is definitely a sleeper team.
What do you think about the long-range thing of Notre Dame? Obviously, Navy's not good, but they've got a good quarterback. They get the tough games at home. Are they going to be sniffing at a playoff spot?
I think they're probably still like a 10-2, 9-3. But I think what we saw from Sam Hartman is that they're not a 7-5 team if he stays healthy. He's just going to make the layups and the open shots, and he's not just going to do just wild stuff, right? Like he's bankable. The guy is like a 24-year-old dude who knows what he's doing, and he may not be a first round type talent, but man, some of these super seniors who got the COVID year and they're like 24 years old.
Right.
I just think it's like these coaches I talk to, they love these guys. Like, man, this is a dude, he's married. Like, I don't know if this guy's married, but like they're just a little more mature than when you're dealing with like a 19-year-old. They don't do the stuff that makes you just cringe up in the coaching box nearly as often.
Miller and Moulton have a bet. Mark is taking Texas. I'm taking the field in the Big 12. Who do you like?
Oh, that's a great question, because we actually posed this on the Cover 3 pod. It was like, should Texas be odds on, right? I am going to take Texas. And it's more like I don't really, really trust Oklahoma. Texas Tech, to me, is very well coached. I think they get the most out of their talent. Why is Texas Tech taking another jump? If the answer is that they are just more comfortable in year 2 of the system, I can buy that. But I think they kind of maxed what their talent was last year on that roster. And they didn't bring in a ton of new guys in the portal.
When you look at the Big Ten and Michigan, Ohio State, and Penn State, is Michigan the clear favorite, or how close are the Buckeyes this year? Or is it clearly a 3-team race?
I think it's clearly a 2-team race that could shift into a 3. But I wouldn't take Michigan over the field to win the Big Ten, certainly. I do believe, though, that it is those 3 and then a pretty big gap between the rest. I mean, Wisconsin is year 1 with Fickell. I think that's a coaching upgrade. I think they were definitely backsliding, but how much better can they be in 1 year? Iowa, I'm kind of a believer in McNamara. I think Iowa should win the West if he stays healthy, but I think it's really a 3-team race there.
I'm kind of curious, just all the players that both Iowa and Iowa State are going to end up losing because of this gambling story. And apparently, Kirk Ferentz is right. Apparently, the only college athletes who are betting on sports are in the state of Iowa. It is remarkable. One other thing I want to throw out there, we talked about Louisville's schedule. Oklahoma State only plays one school in the Big 12 in the state of Texas this year, and it's Houston. And they get the Sooners at home. The final bedlam will be in Stillwater. If you want to ride a team because of the schedule, I don't know if Oklahoma State's any good. They were 7-6 last year, but Oklahoma State's got a schedule that even Louisville goes, damn, that is the schedule. Back to the Big Ten quickly. Can Penn State beat one of these two? I mean, should they be in the conversation until proven otherwise?
Until we see Ohio State's quarterback play, you have to think that Penn State can beat one of the two, right? And Michigan has to go to Happy Valley this year. And they bullied them at the line of scrimmage last year. Michigan obviously feels really good about their O-line again. I would favor Michigan in that game, but it's not like a Michigan by 10 type thing, right? That's a hard place to play.
Mm-hmm.
There's a real chance Drew Aller is the difference maker, right? That he is a step up talent. I know he's a step up, like physical talent wise, from the kid they had, but also mentally, can he be a step up there too and operate this offense and also to look at these receivers? I guess we'll see. We'll see how this looks. I think Penn State's receivers might need a little time to get seasoned this year.
Let's get to a couple of the games this week while we still got some time. LSU and Florida State, obviously the biggie. Top 10 matchup. Should be a hell of a game. It was last year. What do you see in this one, bud?
On power numbers, it's pretty even. On matchup, I do like the Noles. And you guys know I don't pick them every game. I think that Florida State, the Keon Coleman kid, is exactly as nasty as Mark told us he was 2 months ago. I think there's a real chance Johnny Wilson is your number 2 receiver now. And that's a pretty scary thing to say, when Wilson's getting mocked in the second round. So LSU has not had a good camp with their secondary, and I think that's probably the weakness of their football team. And receiver is absolutely Florida State's strength. Again, you get the old quarterbacks on both sides. I think this thing could probably shoot out and play. Both sides have some NFL future DBs, but I think they're more like, hey, first round receivers on both sides against 6th, 7th undrafted type guys in the defensive backfield. So I would expect a lot of points, and I think Florida State scores more of them in the end.
You mentioned Ohio State, and we don't really know if they are going to have a good quarterback play this year. What about Alabama?
Me, Bama's the team. It's like I'm willing to not care about quarterback play quite as much as long as the quarterback play doesn't kill them, because from what I've heard, they're looking really physical and just different looking dudes this year. A lot of bodies that they kind of needed to hit and hit that sort of peak of their possible physical projection have done so. So like Jaheim Otis, they like both the edge rushers. I think the offensive line is probably going to maul some people. I wouldn't be shocked if Bama rotates quarterbacks in games, almost like the Gators did under Spurrier at times.
Does A&M or LSU have anything for Alabama this year?
I think they could. Yeah. I mean, I don't know that they definitely do, but I think they certainly could. A&M's fascinating. They're kind of thin at some spots, but if they stay healthy, like I don't know about their backup offensive lineman, right? I don't know if A&M's secondary is amazing, but I think A&M's defensive front has a bunch of guys who are going to go pro. And I think A&M's offensive line has a chance to make a big leap. And if Jimbo is really as hands-off as people think he is and lets Petrino call this offense, then I think that's a hard game for Bama and College Station. I really do.
All right. A minute left. Feel free to share with the audience, some of your bets of the year.
I'm watching this Tennessee game. That's going to be one that's fascinating. Oh, best bets of the year.
Yeah.
Oklahoma State 66-1 to win the Big 12. I don't think they'll win the Big 12. This is very much a hedge thing, but I had some big hedges last year. I had San Jose State, 70-1 to win the Mountain West. If the kid doesn't get hit by the bus, which was tragic, obviously, I'm not trying to make light of it, but they probably go to the Mountain West title game. North Texas 30-1. They did make it, and we were able to hedge that out. TCU, obviously, the 28-1 for the Big 12, got the hedge there. And I had Troy 14-1. I'm kind of back on the Troy train, man. Everybody thinks just because they lost some defenders, they do a great job recruiting junior colleges too. So I don't think Troy should be counted out in the Sun Belt. And a lot of people think it's South Alabama's year, and they got to come to Troy, Alabama. So I'm thinking that.
He's Bud Elliott. He is busy, and this is his season. Whether it's 24/7 Sports, whether it's CBS Sports HQ, whether it's Cover 3, whether it's Nolecast, follow him on Twitter and X at Bud Elliott 3 and also Bud Elliott CFB. All right. Bud, thanks as always. We'll do it every Wednesday at this time.
Jordan, guys. See you next week.
Bud Elliott, kind enough to join us once again here on Miller and Moulton. Is that bourbon, by the way, behind him on his background?
It is.
Okay.
It is, and it's good bourbon.
Oh, is there bad bourbon?
Yes, as a matter of fact, that there is.
Huh.
It's just cheap. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. David, three things. One, thanks for listening. Two, we got a text that I did not realize. Utah's backup quarterback is out as well. He got blown up in a scrimmage and has a lacerated liver. He's out 6 to 8 weeks. And I double-checked it. He's out. So their top two quarterbacks could be out. And lastly, do we want to try to get Moscona between now and Friday for an LSU perspective on the Florida State game?
Afterwards or later in the week, you mean?
Later in the week. I don't know if you have time. I don't know what
Yeah,
slots
okay.
you even have. I just because he posted some stuff about LSU on TikTok, just about their couple freshmen that he thinks are going to play. And RC, I mean, he is Pat Kerwin of college football, RCB. Bud knows his stuff.
I don't want to speak too soon, but I think where I am is getting pretty lucky.
Good.
We do have a tornado watch till 3. Felipe?
Yeah.
If for whatever, Bob just sent me a text and said if for whatever reason you have trouble getting through, I gave him our hotline number and I'll just text him saying, hey, can't get through, and he'll call you.
Okay. I'll call him now.
We got him.
Okay.
Bob's on hold.
Josh Pate, great tweet. College football continues to be a great sport run by average people.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
A fast-moving show, the bonus hour of Miller and Moulton on this hump day. Thanks so much for being with us. Brought to you in part by the Diamond District. Todd and Jason, visit them if, well, it is that time that you need to make a big purchase. Bob Harig is kind enough to join us once again. He covers golf for a living. He does so for Sports Illustrated. Author of the recent book, Tiger and Phil, Golf's Most Fascinating Rivalry, re-released in paperback a few months back. Find it on Amazon. You can follow Bob on X at Bob Harig, Harig. Bob, it's David and Mark. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Thanks. How are you?
Well, we are doing well. Any surprises to you yesterday in what Zach Johnson did or said?
Not really, to be honest. I wouldn't have been surprised if he'd have named another player or two and left a couple of those guys off. And I think that's the point, really, is that after Koepka and possibly Morikawa, I don't think anybody had a claim that they absolutely should have been picked.
With that, sorry.
So that's why I'm not surprised. Like at that point, then, he needs to go with how he feels these guys are going to fit. And that's what he did. Now we can criticize or, maybe question that, but I see so much criticism of the Justin Thomas pick, and but Keegan deserved it, or Lucas Glover deserved it. Well, nobody deserves it if you're not in the top six. Those are the guys who deserve it. They earned it. They made it by this point structure. If you're not in there, then you sort of put yourself in this position where you can be left out. And I think probably Brooks deserved it because of the way he played and how he fell out and all of that. I think we all know he would have easily made that team had he had more events to which he didn't. He had only 10 over 2 years. And the guy in front of him had Xander had 26. That's pretty obvious. That the whole point of having picks is to be able to mix and match and figure out your pairings from there. And until we see how this shakes out, I think it's kind of hard to second guess them.
With all that being said, is there any, not to second guess, but is there someone that you think was the biggest, Keegan Bradley, the biggest snub in your estimation, or is there no such thing as a snub this year?
Yeah, I don't really think there is. I mean, I kind of leaned, I did my thing, spelling out who I thought or my best guesses, and I had Keegan in, and I had Sam Burns out. And Keegan, I thought had a solid year. He's not played great since he won the Travelers, but not awful. He was high up there on the leaderboard at the Tour Championship, and Sam Burns was not. Of course, he's not going to base it on the one event, but I think what we learned, you can read between the lines, is there was input from the six guys. And, Scheffler played 4 matches at the President's Cup last year with Sam Burns. Now, their record was not great. I believe it was, 1-2-2 or 1, maybe it was 2-3, something like that. They didn't do particularly well in a winning President's Cup. So I think it was overshadowed. But the point is they've got experience. They played 3 or 4 matches together last year at the President's Cup in a format that is not that easy to prepare for. So they've got experience together. And if Scheffler, who's the number one player in the world and who you expect is going to play at least 3 matches, if not 4 of the team ones, if he wanted to have Burns on the team as his partner, I think you have to defer to him. That's the whole point of this now. Go all the way back to when Phil did his thing about Tom Watson, and they created a task force afterward. This is sort of what they wanted. They wanted there to be more player input. They wanted there to be more collaboration. And for better or for worse, that's what they're getting. And look, I would also argue they're 2-1 in the Ryder Cup since then. They haven't lost a President's Cup, and they've had pretty good collaboration since. So I think that's why that went down that way.
Sam Burns did win the match play too. And I wonder if that maybe, stamped him on this team if he didn't fall apart. Granted, it was late March. It was a while ago, but he did win the match play. He's Bob Harig. He covers golf for Sports Illustrated. Follow him on X at Bob Harig, Harig. Is 6 picks too many, though? Do you think there's any movement or discussion about, wow, okay, 6 is a lot. Shouldn't more guys over 2 years be allowed to earn their way on?
Yeah, it's a fair point, although he did take 7 and 8, so right. And I doubt they'd go to less than 4. So if you want to look at it that way, he went off the top 8 of the points. And I, the other thing I would argue, you mentioned over 2 years. I don't think any points should be earned from the previous year. I find that to be very odd. Let's be honest. It's the reason why Justin Thomas was even 15th. He won the PGA last year. I believe they counted last year. They counted the 4 majors, the players, and there was only 1 WGC last year. So they counted 6 tournaments and now they have the same points. I guess it was less points than you would have gotten for winning or for a regular event this year. It wasn't a lot, but it was still something. And I just don't get what anybody did a year ago or more have to do with the Ryder Cup now. I think you should start on January 1st. I'd even wait until the Players' Championship to start counting points, especially when you have 6 picks. Because you use the most recent data you can to formulate your team. And there's no bearing on what happened too early. I've heard some conjecture about how, in the new points format, but before they changed it again, they didn't count the fall events at all. And I'm like, why would you? Why would what you did at the Sanderson Farms a year before the Ryder Cup have any bearing? It shouldn't. And I think it's more, of a kind of a marketing thing that the PGA of America does to count and the tour itself to say, hey, these events count for Ryder Cup qualification. Doesn't make sense. So long-winded answer, but I don't have a problem with the 6 picks. I mean, I think this is the point. You're using those picks to now mold your team. It's meant for figuring out matchups and diving into the numbers, who's good for the course. And I think that's another thing we're going to learn when the Ryder Cup comes around, that's a difficult course. It's very hilly. It's a tough walk. My sense is it's going to be narrow fairways, and they can run some numbers to figure out, who's well suited for it. None of these guys have played it. It's a DP World Tour venue, but none of the Americans have played it. So you kind of got to think about that too.
One of the things I'd heard is that because of the hills on the course, and I'm glad you brought that up, Bob, is that Zach doesn't want to play anybody in all 5 matches. Would you agree with that philosophy? Because typically the U.S. likes to get everybody in the mix, where the European team, they don't have a problem sitting guys and riding their horses. How would you play this out if you were the U.S. team?
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, I think going in, I would have had penciled in a team like Schauffele and Cantlay, they're undoubtedly going to be a team. I'd have had them penciled in for all 4. But I don't know that you do that now. Just for what you said, the course is demanding. There are long days when you're playing on that Thursday and Friday if you play both. So I can see that he might not play everybody every match. But look, now there's, I kind of had Schauffele and Cantlay as a team. You have Spieth and Thomas as a team. You could easily have Burns and Scheffler as a team. There's 3 really solid teams right there that you could play all 4. Well, now that leaves you 6 guys for 2 spots, which doesn't make a lot of sense either. You're probably going to want to mix and match a little bit. But, who does Brooks play with? What about Max Homa? I think they have a lot of possibilities here. I mean, the sort of, I don't know, the focus on 1 or 2 of these guys in these picks here, people are missing the point. It's 18-hole match play. These guys aren't probably going to play every match. And that's where you want to have your teams. My guess is they know their teams right now. They might know when they're going to throw them out there. I believe 4-ball is going to be first. I'm pretty sure Zach probably knows right now what 8 guys are going to go out, and then it's just a matter of figuring out the order. And they're going on a little scouting mission in about 10 days. I would think that will help him determine some things as well.
Bob, we got about 20 seconds. Was JT, is he the new Phil? Is he the emotional leader of U.S. Ryder Cup and he has to be in the room? Or was that storyline overblown?
No, I think there's something to that. And that's another reason I kind of like Keegan. I think he's sort of the same way. I think you need that guy, and he gets under their skin a little bit. I would also argue he's still got 3 or 4 weeks to find his game. I don't think JT is going to be awful forever. I think he's going to come around, and that's another factor in all this is you can't really base it on form. There's such a long time between when these guys performed and when the Ryder Cup begins.
Bob, as always, very appreciative of your time and your insights. Safe travels, and hopefully we could talk either right before or right after it.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Bob Harig of Sports Illustrated. Follow him on X at Bob Harig, Harig. We'll react to what Bob had to say, recap the day and night in sports. Miller and Moulton.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Myers.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill, the Bayfront Inn. Something for everyone. On 5th Avenue in Naples.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Mongo, are you paying attention? Are you ready? So on Mondays, the plan right now is to have Gary Danielson in the 7 o'clock hour.
I almost muted your microphone when you started just to mess with Mongo.
Mm-hmm. And to have Chris Landry talk about little Dolphins, Bucks, Jags will be the plan of attack with Chris at 8 o'clock on Mondays. And going to try to get Joe, Troy, and Lisa Salters as often as possible at 8:38. Tuesdays, David Sampson at 7. Pat Kerwin, 2 segments at 8. Wednesdays,
You know where I graduated from?
Pro Football Network at 7:38. Seth at 8, Bud Elliott at 8:38.
Tell them again, where did I graduate from? I graduated from HBCU. So I'm a who?
Thursdays, College Football Network at 7:38. Roy Cummings at 8. Dr. Roto at 8:38. However, every other Thursday, the South Florida football coach is going to join us at 8 o'clock. So we're going to have to move Roy around every other Thursday. But Alex Golish is going to join us every other Thursday.
They're still running their promos, Hops. That's all I know. The walls are bare. The promos are still running. I have no idea.
Fridays, Lee Sterling earlier than ever before. Lee's at 7. Lee Sterling at 7 o'clock on Fridays. We'll have Pat Kerwin at 8. We'll do our picks in and around that. So right now, that is our guest list going forward. You saw what Dion had to say there.
Yeah.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Been a busy show today. David Bearman, Pro Football Network, Seth Everett, Bud Elliott, Bob Harig a moment ago. Kicking it around, as we like to do, getting over the hump on this hump day. Thankfully, the storm, a glancing blow in southwest Florida. I know it produced some flooding in some areas, but considering the fact it was a Category 4 hurricane as it was making landfall, I think the 239 feels pretty fortunate.
There's no doubt there. After what we went through with Ian, folks on Fort Myers Beach seeing a little bit of water, you can see where their nerves would get edgy very quickly.
And I did think about all the people who have put time and money and effort into rebuilding, whether it's their homes or their businesses on Fort Myers Beach. And even when you saw just a, quote, little bit of water, unquote, in comparison to what we had seen recently, I know that my heart went, just saying, oh my goodness, please, just, please let it be nothing, please.
And let's just get through the rest of hurricane season now.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you, from now on, we are certainly going to pause and stop when we get close to the letter I, aren't we?
Wow.
Man. Whew.
It's like 4 eyes in a row that have been a real,
Yes. As a matter of fact, you're right.
I can't say those words right now.
No, please don't. Please don't. Did you see Deion Sanders' little press availability yesterday?
I did. I
People,
saw the little clip.
Yeah, paid attention to what came out of that. Apparently a Miami Hurricane alum is one of the reporters and was trying to have some fun with Deion, she being a cane and him being, a Knoll. Except Deion let everybody know he's not a Knoll.
And boy, oh boy, are the Knolls upset about that. The Knoll fan base is upset.
And I could see where they would be. And that's because Deion did not graduate. And he said, aren't you where you're an alumnus of? And he said, I am an HBCU guy, because he ultimately got his degree 3 years ago from, what was it, Talladega College? I think he completed some courses online to get his degree. And I think he did it to go into coaching, to go into college coaching, because, I think one of the things that came up is it's like, I know it doesn't make a difference, but we kind of need you to have the paper. So I think before he could get the Jackson State job, he had to get the piece of paper.
Also, I don't think it wasn't yesterday, but it was the presser before, in which he was a little upset with ESPN's Tom Luganbill, who said it's the worst roster in college football.
Right. All of them. Not just, he didn't say in Power 5, right?
No. He said it's the worst roster in college. He said worse than UMass. And Deion was not happy.
No.
And challenged him. Said, how many practices has he been to?
Now, I will say, I don't know how many practices Deion is letting people in at. I mean, Deion would not ask, I don't know if it was The Athletic, but somebody asked recently, they named every Division I coach. They asked him, what's your favorite musical artist or group? Everybody responded except Deion.
Well, Phil Steele didn't get Deion. Of all the coaches he talked to, he didn't get Coach Prime.
Right. Didn't get Deion. Right. Which is interesting, because obviously Deion is at times very media friendly. Goodness knows, whenever he does an interview, it's not like he disappoints. But yes, Deion's been a little different lately than he had been, certainly when he was at Jackson State.
They are a 20.5-point underdog, taking on 17th-ranked TCU on Saturday. 11 a.m. Central.
That's at TCU, though, right?
Correct.
Because it's the following week when Colorado's got their home opener, and isn't it Nebraska?
And it is an unbelievably hard ticket to get.
Is it a harder ticket to get the Nebraska at Colorado football ticket or the Nebraska volleyball ticket tonight?
I'm guessing you could go to the StubHubs of the world and still get a Nebraska volleyball ticket for a little bit cheaper than you can get into the Nebraska-Colorado game. But that is one hell of an event that they have put on.
Don't know how many are aware. Mark, where is the Nebraska volleyball team playing tonight?
In the Nebraska football stadium. And they're going to have 70,000 people for a volleyball game and a concert. They say it's going to be the largest ever attended women's collegiate sporting event. That's cool, for lack of a better term.
Yeah. And Canada Relief in our Twitch chat room said he heard 90. I heard the same thing. Don't quite know if that's, if they sell potentially every seat, and I don't know what ticket sales are, but how great is that? By the way, that's what USC and UCLA are entering, by the way. You want to play Big Ten volleyball? Okay. Go to Nebraska. That's your closest road trip, by the way. They're the best program in the country. Good luck. You'll be begging for Stanford again in no time.
Tell you what, though. Can't you see one of the two LA schools doing a volleyball game in either the Rose Bowl or the Coliseum and trying to match that?
Totally. Have to be UCLA. Okay, if it's Rose Bowl, but then Coliseum, for USC. Sure, absolutely. Take it as a challenge, right? Take a look around and go, hey, come on, we're not taking a back seat to them. Who's the concert? Do you know?
I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't either, but still. That's pretty cool. Hope the weather cooperates. That's the only... I mean, this isn't like Taylor Swift, who's going to do 3 hours outdoors in a downpour no matter what. I mean, if it's pouring, they can't play volleyball.
Still not a Swiftie, but I'm impressed with her work ethic.
Listen.
In fact, I'm blown away by her work ethic, to be brutally honest. It's pop music. I'm not a pop music guy. You go perform, like you do those type of shows. You go out and do that. You play in the rain. You play overflow crowds. You're doing great things in and around the cities you're being in. No, that's a win.
I just love that Belichick, A, went, and B, then just raved about it the next day when he was meeting with the media. And he concludes it by saying, quote, she's tough. Like, wow, he's got half a roster he won't say that about, and he'll say that about Taylor Swift. I'll be damned.
Might put her on the 53. Zappy's no longer there, David.
I was say, could you imagine some of the guys he's been barking at in practice, and teammates going, Taylor Swift's tougher than you. I'm also impressed by the fact that apparently she's stroking some really big checks to the crew people with her tour. And now she's making, obviously, a staggering, never before seen amount of money on a tour. But still, that she's stroking these checks and apparently hand delivering them to the people is just, good deal.
But as Hop says, can she block? We don't know.
First things first, can she play quarterback? Because they don't have anybody except Mac Jones. Where did Will Grier sign?
Cincinnati.
Okay. And Myles Gaskin, who the Dolphins let go, where is he going?
Oh, boy.
Is that Minnesota?
I believe so, David.
Which makes sense because I think they only carried like 3 running backs come cut down time.
Miller and Moulton. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Today was a day when and what's on tap. It's how we finish the Diamond District bonus hour right here on the Florida Sports Network.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. I got nothing today, by the way, for today was a day win. Nothing. Nothing that good. Should we ask Tom if they're switching formats here with it taking everything down?
Yeah, absolutely.
The chalkboards are still up, David. That leads me to believe everything's the same.
Oh, yeah. But it's interesting because it sounds like also the other guy took down his Detroit stuff.
Yeah, everything, but it's all folded neatly in a corner. It's all still sitting here.
The Blue Jays are on fire? Oh, they're on fire, all right.
Your guesses are as good as mine, folks. I have no idea.
No, guys.
If it weren't for cutting a promo, I would be out of here the moment the show ended. Some days, David and I make it all the way till 10 o'clock talking to one another. That's as long as I'm here. And I guarantee you their contracts don't have the same end date. That's a thing that they do around here.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. The Diamond District bonus hour. Miller and Moulton, thanks so much for being with us. Alex Golish, the South Florida football coach, will join us tomorrow. Roy Cummings will also join us tomorrow. And we'll begin our weekly conversation with someone from collegefootballnetwork.com tomorrow as well. A week from tomorrow, Dr. Roto will begin joining us every Thursday. So
To
how
help
about
you
that?
set your fantasy lineups. It's your segment with Dr. Roto, and that'll be weekly here on Miller and Moulton.
It's time for someone to take back this segment, if for no other reason than to stop David from talking about Meghan and Harry. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
1682 we start today. William Penn leaves England to sail to the New World. Left long before Harry. 1850, Honolulu becomes a city. Today in 1905, Ty Cobb makes his debut. Hit a double. In 1922, Babe Ruth is thrown out of a game for the 5th time that season.
There you go. Once a month.
I'm telling you, they were a lot more harsh on umpires. That's maybe that's why the umpires are still angry to this day.
There were quite a few pushing and spitting incidents back in the day.
Speaking of which, did you see the umpire pushed the player in the minor league game and was thrown out?
Correct. In the minors, they have 3 umpires to accrue. The other 2 guys told him to go home. Get out of here. And since it was a minor league ballpark, the way in and onto the field was to walk all the way down the right field line and leave when they opened the fence down there. It's not like there's, just a way you could walk off through the dugout.
It was today in 1963 that a hotline communication link between the Pentagon in D.C. and the Kremlin in Moscow is installed. The red telephone, David. No phones were ever used. It was relying on teletype equipment, fax machine, and most recently, secure email.
Was like the only good thing that came of The Cuban Missile Crisis, right? Because that was the fall the year before. And what came out of it was, listen, we have to have a way that we can communicate better and faster.
Today in 1965, Casey Stengel announces his retirement after 55 years in baseball, and Dylan would release Highway 61 Revisited.
What year for Stengel?
65.
Gotcha.
1967, Thurgood Marshall becomes the first black justice to serve on the Supreme Court. Today in 69, the U.S. Am was won by Steve Melnick.
Proud Gator.
1972, John and Yoko, one-on-one benefit shows, a matinee show and an evening show for children at Madison Square Garden. It was his final full concert performance. Today in 1976, Tom Brokaw takes over as the news anchor on the Today Show.
Take over for Chancellor? Oh, on the Today Show.
On the Today Show. He would be a couple more years before he would take over on the nightly news. This must have been a fun event, David. Today in 1979 at the U.S. Open, John McEnroe beats Ilie Nastase in 4 sets. But Nastase was defaulted by the umpire and then reinstated.
McEnroe is the peacemaker. All right. Yeah, Nastase kind of blew his gasket. That was the first year, by the way, that it was at the current site. In 78, they still played it on clay at Forest Hill. 79 was the first year that they played it on the concrete there at what is now, the U.S. Tennis Center, Arthur Ashe Stadium and all that. McEnroe won it, his first major.
Today in 1984, Jim Rice would ground into a record 33rd double play en route to 36 that year.
Did you see the picture over the weekend, Fred Lynn, when the Angels were in Boston? Fred Lynn and Jim Rice. I know you got to be of a certain age, but let me tell you, when they both came up in 75, unbelievable. Jim Rice stays. Red Sox fans to this day were like, if Rice stays healthy, we win that World Series.
Billy Mayfair wins the U.S. Am today in 87. Justin Leonard would win it in 92. Today in 93, The Late Show with David Letterman debuts on CBS. Bill Murray, the first guest. Billy Joel would also perform.
And I don't know if it was this show or his second show, but Paul Newman stood up in the middle of the crowd and said, "Where the hell are the singing cats?"
And today in 1995, Alan Trammell and Lou Whitaker play in their record-setting 1,914th game together. Ted Williams, Angelo Dundee, and Tug McGraw, all born today. Warren Buffett's 93. Lewis Black is 75. The Chief, Robert Parrish, is 70. Cameron Diaz is 51. And Andy Roddick is 41. What did I miss, David?
A couple of things, 2 of them kind of trivial. You mentioned, what was the first thing you mentioned? How far back did you go?
I went William Penn coming to the New World in 16.
Okay, good. Because I'm going pretty far back also. Washington, this was actually a big deal. Washington refuses the British letter of reconciliation. We're getting our butts kicked. Okay, absolutely getting our butts kicked. We had to retreat from Long Island. The British are about to take over, they've taken over New York City. We just got beat on Long Island. And yet the British general offered a letter of reconciliation, and Washington rejected it. And the reason he rejected it was he wasn't addressed as general. And it bothered Washington to such a degree. Now, eventually, Washington allowed like Jefferson and somebody else to present it before like Congress. And anyway, they were negotiating a reconciliation. The whole American independence nearly never happens. But we rejected the terms because the British would not let us one day become an independent nation. So we rejected it and we kept fighting. But the British controlled New York City until basically we won the damn Revolutionary War. Then we got the city back. So anyway, that's my 1776 reference today. Sad day in our nation's history today. Christopher Cross reached #1 for the second time with Sailing. Actually, it was the first of his #1 hits. Unbelievable. Christopher Cross dominated music in the summer of 1980. It was a low point in our nation's history. It really was. And this is for my mom and my mom only. Was probably her favorite character actor. Charlie Bronson died 20 years ago today.
Oh.
That was my mom's guy.
I don't know anybody else on this planet ever, alive or dead, that said that other than your mom.
I know. He was beaten up and right. I mean, it wasn't Redford. It wasn't, Newman. It was
No. Charles Bronson.
Right. I would say to her all the time, I go, you're looking like the guy who lost the bar fight. Why are you picking him? She's like, that's my guy. I'm like, okay. All right.
I have a couple additions. So today in 2017, Kyrie Irving was traded to the Boston Celtics. Remember, he requested that trade after being tired of not being the guy in Cleveland. His career really hasn't been quite the same since then.
It's worked out really well.
Yeah, that's worked out fantastically. And today in 2020, my first bubble edition, that crazy Game 6 of that first round series between the Jazz.
You got to be kidding.
That first round series.
You got to be kidding.
No.
Jamal Murray scored 50.
No.
I
need control over that microphone.
Absolute scoring barrage.
No. Nobody, honestly.
Nobody cares.
No. Well, not only cares, we don't even know of which you speak. Honestly, if we don't know. No. Mm-mm. You're allowed to mention the Lakers and the Heat in the bubble and in the finals. That's you can go. Everything else.
First round? I mean, if you listen to this segment, how often do we go first round of any playoff series?
Jamal Murray scored 50.
Who cares? I don't care if he scored. He had to have scored 80 for it to be worthy of mention. 80.
It was unreal.
Hops has requested we put a chipmunk filter on your microphone.
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
A postal worker found a cat. And he felt lucky because he couldn't find it the first day, heard it. The following day, heard the same meowing and was able to find this cat wedged in a small space. So he put the kitten in the pocket of his sweatshirt while it slept for the rest of his shift. And he was feeling lucky. So he stopped in to the convenience store and bought a Hit 5 ticket. He won $717,500 with the ticket.
All right.
He was feeling it.
You feel lucky.
For the bad, we go to Australia, where a neurosurgeon investigating a woman's mystery symptoms says she plucked a worm from the patient's brain. She was performing a biopsy on the 64-year-old patient's skull when she used forceps to pull out the parasite, which measured 3 inches long in her brain.
Right.
Finally, the ugly. We go to a Philadelphia Wendy's where armed bandits came in at 1 a.m. to rob the Wendy's. They did make off with a few $100s from the register, but when they went to get the safe, none of the workers knew how to open the safe, so they opened fire on the safe, trying to open the safe. I was hoping one of the bullets would have deflected and hit one of the armed assailants. Fortunately, none of the workers were hurt, and they only made off with a couple of $100. And that is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, August the 30th, 2023.
So we got that volleyball match in Nebraska. At least 70,000 are going to attend that. Can we see that anywhere? I mean, ESPN
Big Ten Network would be my guess.
Okay. We got, a full day of baseball, 9 afternoon games, couple of key ones. I mean, if Cleveland's going to make any sort of run at the Twins, you figure they have to win the finale of the 3-game series today. They're 6 back. Also, big game for the Cubs today if they want to chase down the Brewers, I would think. Milwaukee's 4 up? They've split the first 2 games. They play this afternoon. Rays and Marlins, 6:40 tonight. Rays will know where they stand with the Orioles because the Orioles have a day game, so they'll know if they're 2 back or 3 back. So
And David, Inter Miami's taking on Nashville tonight.
Oh, that's right. Second time they're playing Nashville because they played them for that. What was that?
Leagues Cup.
Oh, yeah. Leagues Cup. Felipe, the Leagues Cup is more meaningful than early NBA rounds in the bubble. To give you an idea of where it ranks.
That's just because of Messi.
There you go.
Yes. You're correct.
One person.
They've yet to lose, right? With them?
That's right.
Well, there you go. In Nashville tonight. Second time in 2.5 weeks. We'll see if he plays. He came off the bench last time on Saturday. Remember, they have to win all their matches. They have to make up 2 or 3 compared to everybody else. They got a lot of games scheduled.
They're not in last anymore, though. They're climbing. They're climbing the table, David.
They were in 14th. They have to get to 9th.
That is correct.
Good luck with that. So that's what we got going on. And U.S. Open, day 3 and all that. Does anybody watch that anymore?
I watched last night. I just turned, there's nothing else on, so I turned it on and watched for a little bit.
Okay.
What else are you going to do on a Tuesday night? Talk to your spouse?
I have to admit, I was watching a little Savale and Alcantara there.
It's the only thing about cutting the cord. No Bally Sports on YouTube TV.
Oh, wow.
Was killing me. I was following it along on my phone.
What are you going to do for hockey?
ESPN Plus.
Oh, okay. Whew.
Miller and Moulton. Thanks for listening. Have a great day. We'll do it all over again tomorrow morning, 6 a.m.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again,